Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 80. You are here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we also have Anthony Ta.
Hello.
And Bronson Fiore.
How you doing, everyone?
I apologize for not making the show last week. Unfortunately, I won't be making it next week either, due to work reasons. But I'm here this week, and the following weeks after the next week, I will be on. So, with that said, we have a lot of news this week. A lot. A great time to be a gamer. Let's go ahead and start off with the new Batman. Batman Arkham Knight has been announced for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC later this year. Now, a new Batman, not really a surprise. What surprised me and let me know what you guys think, is the fact that I was honestly expecting this to also come out on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. From the point of like Batman it's a big budget title, but at such a big budget, it's like, yes, the PlayStation 4 is selling extremely well, Xbox One selling really well, there's a large market on the PC, but do you think that they're making the right choice of putting this out on just the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and skipping out on the last generation? When, if you really think about it, if they would have released this and just poured it over to the PS3 and 360, they would possibly be able to sell maybe a couple million extra copies and make them however more millions of dollars. What do you guys think?
I think optimizing for these new consoles as soon as possible is the thing for the. It's going to be better for the game overall. Better for the gamer.
I definitely agree with that. Agree with that. I also feel like there's kind of a push from Sony and Microsoft to be like, hey, like, we understand kind of around launch time that some games need to come out on both consoles, but if you're talking about late 2014, we really want to push these new generation consoles. So let's focus on next generation. Let's pull the power out of these consoles, make the graphics look incredible, and let's start this generation, especially with the PlayStation 4 selling as well as it has. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But Sony released a new sales figure for the PlayStation 4 that's just outstanding, that they've already reached this selling mark. It's crazy. And while the PlayStation 4 is selling it's selling roughly twice as much as the Xbox One is, the Xbox One is still selling really well. Let's not forget that. The Xbox One is selling really well. It's just that the PlayStation 4 is selling exceptionally well. Never has a console sold at the rate of the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 has destroyed the beginning sales of any video game console in history. So just because it's selling twice that of the Xbox One does not mean the Xbox One is selling poorly.
I want to know why no one talks about the Ouya.
The Ouya. Bum, 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 bum. And it's funny because the one game that really got big on Ouya, was exclusive to Ouya, was Towerfall, and Towerfall is coming to the PlayStation 4 later this month. I had the chance at the Sony showcase back in February. I think it was February 20th. Was it February 20th? Regardless,
something like that.
Regardless, it was in Santa Monica. That's where my interview for Infamous was shot, and it'll be 14 the show. And when I got to see the Order 1886 and provided my preview video, I had the chance to play Towerfall on the PlayStation 4, and it's awesome. A lot of you guys, Anthony, Bronson, you guys probably haven't even played Towerfall, because unless you had the Ouya, I don't think you could. Trust me.
You know me, I love my Ouya games.
Yeah, Towerfall is a game that I know you guys will love. Towerfall is going to be an awesome game. Definitely do not let that game slip by. Everyone that's listening as well, please look out for it. It's an awesome game, really addictive, and then it brings back... If you don't know what the game is, go to YouTube, look it up. It's worth your time. It brings back the whole local multiplayer aspect. Like, it's one of those games that you could, if you have a group of people over at your house, that you guys can play for hours and hours and hours. It's an awesome game. Very basic. It's not anything graphically amazing. It's very dated visually, but it's incredibly fun. So definitely looking forward to that. But back to Batman. Batman Arkham Knight. They released a trailer. Didn't really show much. We know we'll be able to drive Batmobiles, or at least that's what we're hearing, which that's pretty cool. Really, with this Batman Arkham series, there's never been a bad Batman Arkham game, if you ask me. They've all been incredible, and I'm really excited to see what they can do on the power of these next-generation consoles. I really want to see what they can do visually and see what they can do with the open-world aspect with all the new power they've been provided.
Origins wasn't super. I will say that.
Origins is definitely the weakest. I'll give you that. It's definitely the weakest of the Batman Arkham series, but I still think Origins was a solid title. I mean, I'd give it like a solid 7.5, 8.
I'd give it a 7 or a 7.5. I'll say this: it had some really good, like, that was very much out of the 3 Batman games. That was the one where I was like, man, I really like the whole story part of this, but fuck, I don't want to play this. A lot of that's just because it felt like an expansion pack for Arkham City. And then the fact that
Arkham City was amazing.
Yeah, but this was also really buggy, and especially the console versions ran like shit. And the city was way, way, way too fucking big for what you were doing. Like, even with fast travel, it was just fucking impossible to get around because of how goddamn big the city was. I like the story, and I especially like the part where you play as the Joker. And that game had a lot of cool stuff in it, but it just, oh my god, holy hell. That game just, like, it wasn't bad, but like compared to those other 2 Batman games, it was definitely a step down.
What are your thoughts, Anthony?
I'm a little... What development team is making this new Batman game?
Rocksteady. It's their
okay, so
and
Batman Arkham Origins was a different development team supervised by Rocksteady, right?
Yes.
Okay. My concern with this Batman game is that it's only been 3 years since Arkham City. Okay, so that gives them more time to actually make stuff. I just kind of feel that it's a little early, and I can't help but feel that the quality might be down a little bit because it's only been less than a year. And development kits, unless you're a first-party studio, I don't think a third-party studio is going to get a development kit that soon. So
I don't know. Like, the thing is, though, is like over a year ago, Kevin Conroy was like, "Oh, just got the studio for the new Batman," and they had to immediately had to delete that tweet because people were like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Well,
and
yeah,
he didn't.
I don't know.
He didn't star.
Well, yes. Okay, look, I understand that.
And he didn't star in Origins, so that means they started on this before. Even Origins
this
was
game's probably
been
in development for probably at least a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. Voice acting, story, concept art, audio recordings, pictures, that you can do without writing a single line of code. However, when a player grabs a controller, that's where you need to start the code. And I don't know when a third-party developer like Rocksteady gets a development kit. But I kind of feel like maybe it's a little soon.
Well, we knew Electronic Arts had development kits for at least the PlayStation 4 before it was announced. So let's just say...
Okay, but the PlayStation 4 was announced at the beginning of 2003.
Right.
Sorry, 2013.
2003?
2013. Even then, that's only
getting the
1
fucking head of the
year.
curve.
Look, okay, yeah, but what I'm saying is 2013, which has only been a year since then. Since that announcement date, just over a year. And even if you got before even then, so you're talking about right now is about 2 years at most, and even then EA is like a mega publisher, the biggest of the big publisher.
WB is really huge though.
But WB is not. But WB is not the people who make Call of Duty or Battlefield or all the big flagship AAA titles that you would want to get your multiplats on right away.
I'm pretty sure though that if WB went to Sony and Microsoft said, "Hey, we're making a new Batman," they probably gave him a kit pretty early, because Batman's a game that sells millions. It's
Batman, like.
When Batman comes out,
understand,
it will probably be, unless it's put out with another blockbuster title, it will probably be the best-selling game for that week, or shit might even be month, depending on what launches around it.
And oddly enough, that is a game that oddly did better on the PlayStation, which was weird. Because normally that didn't happen with multi-plats.
I think haven't all of the like superhero games.
All the superhero games, what? You cut out. Hello?
Like, yeah, haven't all of the superhero games usually done better on the PlayStation platform? Plus, the PlayStation did have the exclusive content. And when it was advertised on television, it had the PlayStation at the end of it. So...
Yeah. No, Arkham Asylum, the first one, that was a real surprise, because, like, up until that point, games like that were garbage, and, like, all the previews leading up to it, like, I thought, like, oh my god, this looks fucking horrible. And then, we played it. Well, first off, Aaron was the first one to play it. Like, he gave it more of a chance than anyone else. He was super excited for it. And I just saw him playing it for, like, 3 days straight, and he beat it. And, I called him and asked him, like, how was it? He's like, it's amazing. It's one of the best things I've ever played. And I played it, and it was great. Like, it was a real surprise. And Arkham City was also really great, and I'm looking forward to this. What they've showed with the story stuff is pretty neat. What they've showed with the whole Batmobile thing, that was cool. Like, I realized it's a cinematic teaser, but they did a cinematic teaser for City also. That wasn't half as cool as this, so, expectations are a little high. And
plus it's fully done by Rocksteady, not supervised. So
yes, that helps for sure.
I'm just hoping that they actually spend more time adding something new to the gameplay instead of making it like Arkham City with more pizzazz.
Well, that was one thing that bothered me.
Because you think about it, it's really tempting that now that you have 1080p and 8 gigabytes of RAM, it's really tempted to go graphics. Gameplay? Oh, let's use the old game. It's good enough. And then what you end up getting is a game that plays a lot like Arkham City, which isn't bad, but then it's just kind of like you've got Arkham City, you just now have the Batmobile, and it looks nicer.
Nicer. That's kind of how I felt about Arkham Origins when I was playing it. Like, Arkham Origins, the stealth parts were still good, but they weren't as well made as the Rocksteady ones. And then, like, combat was just, I was so tired of fighting dudes. I was like, I'm going to stand here and counter all of you. And why? Because I'm motherfucking Batman, and you're just some random dudes. But now you're some random dudes who aren't afraid of me, which is hilarious. Because I'm still young in my career. That's actually one thing that I really hope that they do with Arkham Knight. It's called Arkham Knight versus Arkham City. I want them to take from Origins that wasn't in City and Asylum. In Arkham Origins, Batman is hard. He is fucking a badass. Like, just breaking fuckers' legs. Just, like, he won't kill anyone, but he will harm them in horrible, horrible ways. And I hope they keep that going, because one of my favorite scenes in that entire game is where he's hanging someone on top, where he is hanging a thug off the top of a ledge by one leg, and he won't talk. So he actually does drop him. And then, he does catch him, but they still won't talk, so he just drops him on top of the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I don't know, that whole game, especially the way they set it up, the story with the Joker, like that, in my opinion, it actually had better writing than Arkham City in a lot of places. It's just the gameplay just didn't keep up. Like I said, it was really buggy, especially the console versions. And really the 360 and Wii U versions got really effed up, really bad. And then had multiplayer, and the multiplayer was kind of dumb. It reminded me of a not good version of Splinter Cell multiplayer. And then just the city itself was too big. Like going from one end of that city to the other just felt like it took forever. And even with fast travel, the city felt too big, and like going to destinations, you'd get lost. It just had a lot of problems that Arkham City and Arkham Asylum didn't have. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm really excited for Arkham Knight. I have faith in Rocksteady. Those first couple of games were really good. Hopefully the trend continues. I know I will be picking it up on my PS4.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it too. I think we're gonna see a lot of new multi-platform games and sequels, and maybe a new franchise here or there being announced within these coming months leading up to E3 for release this holiday season. Like, you already know there's going to be a new Call of Duty. That's a given. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see, let's see, what else could there be? Pretty sure we'll probably see another Need for Speed, because we know how we have to have
I guarantee you we're getting another Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have another Assassin's Creed.
I also guarantee you that it won't be as good as Assassin's Creed 4, because holy crap, they made Assassin's Creed not suck. I don't know how they did it, but they did it. Yeah,
well, to make it not suck, they have to go ride on the whole wave of pirates to make it not suck.
Yeah,
but now that you burn up the pirate card, what are you going to do next? The Civil War? That's going to be a problem.
So Alex and I actually had that conversation last week on Unscripted. Is every time I'm playing that game and it's pirates and I'm on a ship, or I'm taking over a cove, or I'm hunting treasure, or building up my pirate hideout, I am having just a blast. And then there are the parts where it turns into an Assassin's Creed game and it sucks.
Yeah, that's the concern. It's still an Assassin's Creed game. It's just that the high of being a pirate hides all of that, which makes the game overall better. But
all the side stuff in that game, and the main story missions that are based around like helping Blackbeard and killing whales and all this other shit is super awesome. And then, like I said, you do the rest of it, and it's just fucking horrible. Controls, like, even Aaron, who disagreed with me about Assassin, like, hadn't played 3 or any of the other side ones like I had, so he goes back to Assassin's Creed after all these years and is like, oh wow, you're right, that does control like shit. And I'm like, I told you, I'm telling you for years this game controls like shit.
Yeah, so now that you don't have pirates anymore, yeah, it's kind of hard to read. To kind of like, what could you do with the Civil War that's cool? Because with pirates, it's kind of easy to be cool with pirates. All you do is just get inspiration from Pirates of the Caribbean, which isn't like real life pirates, but
or read about actual pirates. Actual pirates were kind of badasses.
Yeah, but they're really terrifying. They're like genuinely terrifying and did really terrible things, which also is kind of brings that pirate perspective in and kind of makes Assassin's Creed look better. But with a Civil War, like, you think about they have to go forward with time now. So the next big major point in American history is the War of 1812, which no one really cares about, nor bothers to care about.
Assassin's Creed game lasts 3 whole days.
Yeah, like the War of 1812, actually, to be honest, it's a fun fact, everybody. In the War of 1812, the American military was so useless that the White House burned down. I believe it was the White House building that burned down. Anyways, but yeah, that's not really interesting enough to make a dramatic plot line out of.
They went back in time to do pirates, because pirates is obviously before.
Yeah, but they didn't go back that far. You could pick other times in Europe, like you could do Nordic history, you could do lots of things. But you went forward in time. Civil War, French Revolution, maybe.
That'd be cool.
That might be cool, actually. That's a good idea.
Cold War, spies.
No. The Cold War is too far ahead. That's like the 1950s to the 90s. Like, you could still do World War I before reaching the Cold War. And World War II. But, yeah, I don't think you can do... Yeah. So, Yeah, maybe they could go a little more global. That lots of more history global. French Revolution's a big one.
You know,
I mean,
a
they've done
franchise
you.
we haven't seen in a while that I'd like to see announced on the next generation consoles is Rainbow Six.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen one of those. I'd also like to see a No
Um,
More Heroes 3.
I'd also like
kind
to
of
see a
feel-
Fallout, which I'm pretty sure that's like a given. Bethesda has to be working on something, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna hear about an announcement of Fallout, probably if not before E3, during E3.
Alright.
Mm.
Ugh, Fallout. Ugh. Fucking garbage.
Normally, see, Bronson and I are heavily outnumbered when it comes to talking about Fallout because we both don't like it. But on this
'Cause it's
specific
bad.
podcast, we're the majority, 2-1.
Yeah. Because fuck that game.
I love.
don't-
I agree. I wasn't a fan of Fallout 3, but Fallout New Vegas was awesome.
I didn't
Okay, like-
either of them.
Like, I understand why people like Fallout.
3 was worse.
But I just okay, actually, like here's the thing: everyone likes Fallout, so I just kind of accept it as it's one of those games that everyone likes that I don't understand at all. What is so fun about walking across a wasteland? Walking across Oblivion was cool because you had varied landscape and trees and different cities and different regions. One place would rain all the time, and another place would be a dry plain. There was regions, and then even walking in Skyrim was kind of interesting because you
Skyrim.
you could walk through Skyrim, and next thing you know, a dragon comes in, and you get to be all dragonborn and shout at the thing and wag its legs for 10 seconds.
My walk
and
through Skyrim included me getting lost in the mountains, and then I get onto the main path after like an hour, and an orc's like, "Yo, man, you want to buy drugs?"
Yeah, I know. I hated Skyrim. I hated it. A franchise I really want, which I really hope they're in the process of developing right now, I want a Borderlands 3. That would be amazing.
I want them to. A lot of my wishes never come true. In fact, the only one who seems intent on making my wishes come true is Atlas and Nintendo. So, I want to No More Heroes 3. The No More Heroes 3 would be a good start. We've already got Bayonetta 2 coming, so wish granted there. Valkyria Chronicles 3, that'd be pretty rad. Shazam 2 would be pretty cool. How about a second Psychonauts?
I'd also love Sony to come out with a NFL game once hopefully Madden loses a license and it isn't renewed.
With how much money and influence EA has. That's very funny, Nick.
Yeah, that's not happening.
That's very funny. I mean, frickin' EA could just lobby at the NFL offices all day, and they will win. Yeah, there's a word for everybody. Lobbying.
We'll see what happens, I guess. If they extend it again, I'm gonna be very sad.
Well, prepare to be very sad. That's what I say to that.
Madden hasn't done anything in years.
You and I played Madden today, and their servers are still terrible.
I want competition,
Oh
terrible.
well. Could be worse. Somehow.
Well, it can't really be worse with football. I mean, once again, like I said, we're gonna have Madden come out next year, and it'll probably look a little bit better, and they'll announce this new mode that no one cares about, or this new feature that you only see maybe once every 5 games. It's like, no.
That's disappointing. Supposedly, what would be another franchise? I'm trying to think of franchises I'd like to see come back. Another Muramasa would be cool, or a game made by that team. Well, I guess they did make a game. This is not on next gen. Oh, Anthony, I got one.
Yep.
3D Dot Game Heroes 2.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That'd be a cool one.
What about Red Dead Redemption 2?
I liked Red Dead. Red Dead was good. Oh, I cannot believe I didn't think this one. Street Fighter 5.
I think that one would definitely happen.
Another one that I would love to see, but we're probably not going to see because of Need for Speed Burnout.
Yeah,
Burnout Paradise City 2. That would be amazing.
Hell, I'd take Burnout 5.
Man, Need for Speed is just... Man, you want to talk about a franchise I actually kind of like to complain about, it would be Need for Speed. Because it's like, okay, guys, it was like, what, 2010 or something like that? Okay, guys, Need for Speed has really sucked now because Black Box is doing a terrible job. Okay, let's bring our only good racing game developer. Criterion, hey, we want you to make a Need for Speed game. So you got Need for Speed that's kind of like a bit of Burnout because you can crash cars and stuff. But at the same time, because you kind of took out the cartooniness of, and the arcadiness and the fun out of Burnout, it just becomes another arcadey driving game.
I want to see another SSX. I love the SSX games.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the last one was okay.
I thought the last one was awesome.
Like I said, Nintendo is making Viva Pinata 3, Cameo 2.
Cameo 2, that's funny.
Hey man.
Yeah.
Viva Pinata 3. Why is that not a thing?
Because Microsoft is so big now that they don't grasp for every single little bit of help they can find.
Another Toe Jam.
Hey, Toe Jam and Earl was pretty cool. I'd be down. I wouldn't be against that. What else? I'm trying to think what else would be cool. Yeah, I don't know. Cameo was rad. I don't see all the hate on Cameo.
I kind of feel like, yeah, but Cameo isn't exactly... Feels like one of those games that's like a one-off kind of thing.
Banjo-Kazooie 3.
Let's put it this way, Bronson. You wanting Cameo 2 is like me wanting Heavenly Sword 2. It's just not gonna happen.
So you're saying we both like really early life cycle games that were both kind of to the
the thing is that you kind of need the fan base too, and then not just a fan base, an extremely loyal, persistent, and large enough fan base. Like one of the examples I would come up with is like, no, Mass Effect is a bad example.
Bayonetta 2 is happening. That's what I know.
Yeah, like Bayonetta 2 actually did happen, which is surprising because Bayonetta 1 had a loyal fan base, but I guess it wasn't really persistent or big enough where a publisher said, yeah, let's do Bayonetta 2. Instead, it kind of became to the point where Nintendo was probably the only ones who were willing to do it. Hey, that's a good idea. Maybe they should just pitch it to Nintendo.
Nintendo will become the ultimate system for niche games.
The Wii U itself is already really niche as it is. I mean, it's underpowered relative to its competition. It's got a relatively unconventional controller, and it's having some pretty darn niche sales numbers right now.
I mean, I think that actually wouldn't be a bad idea for Nintendo. Like, here, we're just gonna publish
it's like,
all these...
I just kind of think of Nintendo as just like, it's like, yeah, sure, we may not have the sales numbers, but we can have the best loyalty. I mean, they could try and go that approach. I mean, that's what happened with the GameCube, right? Got outsold worldwide by the original Xbox. Kind of made everyone question about Nintendo's future in a hardware market. But guess what? Lots of people who had a GameCube wouldn't give it up.
And that system did have a lot
and also had a very high attach rate of average of I believe the number was 9 games per console.
Not only that, but I think that it just not only did it have those great Nintendo exclusives that they're making now. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze just came out, everyone. I'm not sure if I'm going to write a review, but if I were, it would be a 9 or a 9.5. It is a fantastic game.
That's Retro Studios right there.
Super Mario 3D World just came out.
Super Mario 3D World, I think, I'm tempted to say it's the best Mario game I've ever played. I know that's crazy considering that Super Mario 64 and Galaxy exists, but 3D World's just like, it's like 3D Land but much better. And I already really liked 3D Land.
But then you have, 3D World got second place in our Game of the Year awards last year. It almost got first.
It almost got first, and I didn't play that much 3D World at that point. And if I had, I would have been stuck in the spot where it's like, okay, so what do I prefer? Do I want the game that is very close to gaming perfection, or do I want the game that puts the smile on my face the best?
No. Let's see.
Another game, another third-party franchise I'd like to see is Far Cry. I've always been a fan of Far Cry.
Ugh. I hated 1. I hated 2. Number 3 was pretty good.
I never understood Far Cry 2.
I didn't like
tried
the first one. I did not like the first one. I liked the second one, and I love the third one. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like Far Cry 2 was a case of what do you do? Actually, one of my only few memories of it was I played Far Cry 2 and I'm just like, okay, so you're my buddy, right? You're my companion that's gonna help me survive in this I think it was the African wilderness, right? It's like, okay, great. Well, since you're not following me anymore, I'm just gonna get in this car and drive off and try and do other things, right? About 20 minutes later, I get a message saying my buddy died. And I didn't understand how. It just kind of... It was annoying for me.
But yeah, more than anything, I really, 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 and I'm sure we'll see it because the game makes millions and millions and millions. I really, really, really want to see another Borderlands. Borderlands 3. Please make it happen.
Yeah, see, for me, I don't really...
Borderlands.
See, for me, it's kind of hard for me to find a franchise that kind of gives that for me now, because... Or at least one that I can think of. Because right now I'm not thinking of any. And
I'm looking forward to a lot of new franchises, too. I don't want a lot of sequels. I want a lot of new franchises. There are some sequels I want, though. Like I said, I really want a Borderlands 3.
It's actually... I'm guessing that you're probably going to be disappointed, because I'm thinking they're going to keep doing sequels. And more sequels. And more sequels, because...
Well, I don't know. We're seeing a lot of new franchises coming up.
Which is true, but how long is that going to keep up? Because if we remember, towards the end of the 360 and PS3 lifespans, the number of sequels just shot through the roof. And then Ubisoft was saying, the only reason why new IP doesn't exist is because we need a new console generation. That's like the only way new IP exists.
Hey, look at Ubisoft.
Which may or may not be true.
Watch Dogs, they have The Crew, then you have Sony with The Order, then you have Remedy with Quantum Break.
Okay. Can we say the same thing in about 3 years?
Well, yeah, that's somewhat to find out.
That bothers me. Because it's like when you have a new generation, you're kind of like, sweet, let's experiment. And then once you've found what sticks, how long do they keep sticking with it? It's kind of difficult. So, and back on the topic of I was talking about continuing franchises, I'm trying to think of a franchise that I would like to see a new of, because a lot of franchises that I used to love kind of degraded. Like Mass Effect, I don't really care about Mass Effect anymore. I used to care about it a lot. And same with Dragon Age, same with Forza. What else? A new driver. Yes. Probably a new driver. That would be nice. Hey, Ubisoft, can you make a new driver? Driver San Francisco is the best driving game I've ever played. Please? Please? Yeah. I'd like to see a new driver. And not like something like Driver 3, which was absolutely terrible. Driver San Francisco is freaking awesome, so if they could build off of that, that would be great.
If I could just have a couple, I'd go No More Heroes 3. The first 2 games were fantastic. And then another Alan Wake would be pretty good. And then I guess, yeah, Street Fighter 5.
Oh, yeah. Dragon's Dogma 2. Please. I really like Dragon's Dogma 1. I mean, it was kind of really dull at many places, but it kind of had some couple really major new ideas that I really, really loved. Like the pawn system, freaking amazing. And being able to climb on enemies, Shadow Colossus style, also amazing. Please, Dragon's Dogma 2. And you know what? With the pleasant surprise of a success, it was. Please. Yeah. I love Dragon's Dogma. It's so cool.
Yeah, and then I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I mean, I really want to see
Yeah,
another
stuff
game come from
like-
Quantic Dream. I want to see something that's better. I want to see them like blow us out, blow our minds.
I'm pretty sure they'll blow our minds. Technically, it's the game part.
Well,
that I'm
yeah,
concerned.
not just technically, and someone helped
Like
David
that
Cage
Kara
with the
demo.
writing, too.
That Kara demo.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it ran on an actual PS3. I kind of want to doubt it, because it looked a bit too lifelike. That it fell into the Uncanny Valley.
I mean,
Well, Beyond looks outstanding.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, Beyond is running on a very limited scope, and there are sometimes when you just know a demo really is running on the next set of consoles or the PC. I remember going to that Metal Gear reveal event and just laughing hysterically, like, oh, this is running on current generation platforms, and Quinn and I are just laughing, like, oh, you're lying. That's so great.
Yeah, but then again, we also kind of thought the same thing when we saw Grand Theft Auto 5 for the first time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because you remember, like, at the time, we looked at Grand Theft Auto 4. So when we saw Grand Theft Auto 4 didn't exactly look that great on the 360, depending which expansion you were playing. Like, the original Grand Theft Auto 4, on disc, they compressed it so much that everything was covered into, like, a muddled
I don't
yellow...
even think Grand Theft Auto 4 looked good on the PS3. I wasn't really impressed.
Yeah, like, Grand Theft Auto 4 was kind of like... And it pushed the system to a limit, because my 360 runs warmer playing Grand Theft Auto 4 than any other game. And that's how, and GTA 4 looked like that, and I'm just like, you know what, GTA 4 for an open world, I feel like it's pushing the system to a limit. So when I saw Grand Theft Auto 5 for the first time, and how Los Santos looked that detailed and that colorful, and how they said it's bigger than all these former GTA cities combined, I'm just like, there's no way. Like, how can Grand Theft Auto 4 was already pushing a 360 really hard. You really think GTA 5 is going to look this good on a 360 if it's on 360? And guess what? It comes out on 360 and PS3. It looks just like in the videos. Wow. Yeah. So, yeah. But whatever Quantic Dream comes up with next on the PlayStation 4, it's going to be like... It's probably going to get to the point where we're going to have a really hard time distinguishing the in-game rendered cinematics from real life. Because Metal Gear 5 fooled me. For a few seconds. Because I remember looking at that gameplay video they showed during the Xbox One E3 event press conference, and that few seconds I'm just like, oh wow, that's a pretty cool pre-rendered canyon. Oh wait, hang on, and then the camera moved, and I was like, that is an actual rendered canyon. Whoa.
So here's where I'm gonna say that Quantic Dream's next game is to look great, but it'll be about emotions. And David Cage's terrible writing.
You never know. You never know. For all I know, maybe that writer at Uncharted at Naughty Dog might go to Quantic Dreams. Maybe?
No, we'll talk about that in a second. But I think that we're definitely gonna see a new franchise from Naughty Dog. Of course, they're making the new Uncharted, but I can't confirm this, but I've heard from various sources that don't be surprised if Naughty Dog's new franchise is in the sci-fi genre. That's all I'm saying.
That gets me stoked.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but if it's like for some reason that just got me really excited right there. I'm just like, wait, Naughty Dog doing something sci-fi? I think I'm a bit of a sucker.
I've heard it from more than one person, so I'm pretty confident in it, so stay tuned.
That's gonna be cool because, like, what kind of sci-fi they're gonna go for? Because there are many types of flavors of sci-fi. But yeah, if Naughty Dog is actually doing something sci-fi, that sounds really interesting.
But yeah, so stay tuned to that.
All right. Yeah. Cool. So we get into what new story time about next?
We'll move on to Amy Hennig. So Amy Hennig, who was the was the director and writer, creative director, what do you want to call it? She's responsible for a lot of the writing with the Uncharted franchise. Is no longer with Naughty Dog. Reports are saying that she was kind of forced out by the team on The Last of Us because, remember, the people on Uncharted and The Last of Us are two separate teams within Naughty Dog. But she's no longer with Naughty Dog, and she tweeted, "Well, now I know how to get my follower count to shoot up. Thanks everyone for the kind words. It's very appreciated, more than you know." Very, very disappointing for a team such as Naughty Dog to no longer have Amy Hennig. She's very, very, very talented. She will definitely have a new job. I mean, she could probably get a job just about any studio she wants to. Like you said, Quantum Dream would be perfect for her. David Cage let her do the writing and directing.
Maybe she can help Sony Santa Monica on their next project. I mean, there's a lot of Sony first-party studios that she could help out with, but when you make something when you're writing something like now, Uncharted isn't exactly what we would call landmark in storytelling, but it's still pretty darn cool. And so when you're working on something that successful, yeah, a lot of people are gonna want you.
Yeah, she is a fantastic.
I mean, you're not gonna be as desired as the head guy who envisioned Mass Effect. Forgot what his name was. I mean, I forgot to have his book, but anyways, yeah, like the lead writer of much of Mass Effect. She's not like him, but still, Uncharted, pretty darn nice.
Yeah, and the Uncharted games are incredibly well written. I see no reason why she couldn't. And man, she doesn't have to stay in Sony. She could go.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't have. Yeah, that's for y'all. You know, wouldn't this be comical? Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be comical? Because you know how Microsoft bought the Gears of War. Like, wouldn't it be comical if Amy Hennig worked on the next Gears of War?
No, she won't work on Gears because she knows how to write.
You never know.
Gears is kind of like...
She could come out, she could work on the next Gears of War, and Gears of War could have an incredible story because of her. You never know.
Well, here's the problem, is that when you're a writer of adventure games that have an actual plot instead of glorified blood movies that's about being a gigantic brofest and everything... Yeah. I mean, Gears of War is kind of like what I would describe as kind of like the stuff envisioned by people similar to the Michael Bay movies. Just kind of a lot of flash, but not as much substance.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stuff like that. I'm just very distracted right now because I just punched a cattle in GTA 5 and it was really funny to watch.
But yeah, I think it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I'm
someone that talented, and I really hope that, I mean, Naughty Dog's come out and said it's not going to affect the timeline of the next Uncharted, but I just really hope that, as a huge fan of the Uncharted franchise, I just really hope that her no longer being with Naughty Dog isn't going to negatively impact Uncharted. Because I am really, really, really looking forward to the next Uncharted on the PlayStation 4, because I'm looking forward to see what they do with the story. We already know the games will look absolutely... We're probably going to be mind-blown. It's probably going to be on the level of Metal Gear Solid 5. It's going to look unbelievable. And I really want to see where the story goes and see where they take the gameplay. I want to see what they do. And I'm sure Amy Hennig probably had a big part in what they were doing, and she's no longer with the team. So I hope... I mean, I'm not saying... I mean, The Last of Us, Amy Hennig didn't have any part of The Last of Us, at least I don't think so. And The Last of Us was outstanding, so I'm not saying that Naughty Dog can't come up with a creative story without her, but when you have someone like her, as talented as her, and she pretty much helped with the birth of the Uncharted series, and now she's gone, it kind of sucks. But... It's a job lost. But I mean, the good thing is that Amy Hennig, she has a good resume. Her name's out there. She's gonna be able to get a job without a problem.
There is one very big concern that I have. She is the big lead writer of Uncharted, right?
Pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah.
Is she? Okay,
Yeah.
so if she is the big lead writer who envisioned Uncharted, is the game going to feel like Uncharted?
Well,
Without
it kind of depends, because it's like, I mean, this would be kind of messed up for them to do this, but it's like, for all you know, I mean, they've probably been working on this Uncharted game for a while. They could have had the story written. The story could have been done for months now.
This is now.
So it's like it's probably just developing, and they have to obviously build a new engine and all that stuff. So I mean, that's what I'm hoping, because I mean, this could be the point where it's like, okay, look, she's written the story, whatever complications, why she was forced out, whatever, it's all politics. Let's just hope that she finished the story, and they don't have like, oh, well, she wrote 3/4 of it, let's have this guy come in and finish it off, because then that's going to run to an issue where it's probably going to not be good.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question, okay, so if she finished the story of Uncharted 4, that would be great. That would be good. Because if she didn't finish the story, then that would have been a major point of concern. The reason why I asked this is because I was once a huge fan of Mass Effect. Okay, I loved Mass Effect 1, and I loved Mass Effect 2. The lead writer of Mass Effect 1 and 2, his name is Drew Karpyshyn, if I pronounce his name correctly. And I read one of his books, Mass Effect Retribution. And he was the lead writer of the first 2 games in that book. And that book, when I read it, gave me the quintessential Mass Effect feel. Everything about Mass Effect 1, like alien xenophobia, the emptiness of space, the elusive man's relentless questions for humanity's survival, all of that I found in the games was also in that book. Even though that book wasn't about Commander Shepard going out saving the galaxy. It was a much smaller story, but it gave the quintessential feel. Now, Drew Karpyshyn didn't write Mass Effect 3. And when I played Mass Effect 3, it had a lot of things that, yes, it has Reapers, yeah, it has, Asaris and Turians, but for some reason, I was really bothered that, yeah, there are some qualities here that I missed from Mass Effect 1 that weren't in Mass Effect 2, but were brought back in Mass Effect 3, but for some reason, it just didn't give me that Mass Effect feel that I had in the first 2 games. There was just something missing. And I just looked this up, and it's like, Drew didn't write the Mass Effect 3. Maybe he gave guidance, but he wasn't. But I just looked in the wiki article, and his name's not listed under major writers. So that's a point of concern. The lead writer, the head story guy of the first 2 games wasn't there. And that probably may have something to do with why the story was missing the magic touch that I was so fond of. That's why I'm concerned about Uncharted 4 when you have your main lead writer, who was there for most of the franchise, leaving.
Yeah, similar to what happened with Gears of War Judgment. Like, regardless of whether you like the franchise or not, Gears of War 1 through 3 were pretty good. I loved them, but then Gears of War Judgment was kind of eh.
Yeah, but in that case, Gears of War Judgment had a different developer. It's just under supervision by Epic, I think. In this case, it's basic, but in the case of Mass Effect, it's still BioWare. It's the same studio in Edmonton. It's just the lead writer. Just the lead writer's different. So probably that's why it just felt more like a fan work than this kind of cool sci-fi story that I originally fell in love with. Anyways, yeah. So yay, now I know another reason why I am not too fond of Mass Effect 3.
I think that it's going to be up to the new writers of Uncharted to keep the pacing there and keep the characters true to themselves.
That's going to be quite hard, though. It's going to be very hard, though, because
they
the thing
are
is that
writers, because they did write The Last of Us. It's just it.
But here's the thing:
flipping from the mode of The Last of Us to Uncharted is a big switch.
Well, there's another difficulty too: is that when you are the lead writer, the person who envisioned this entire world. You know every single little conceivable detail. Every single minute detail you know.
Yeah, and see that's why.
But here's the thing. But here's the thing. It's kind of hard to impart all those little details to other people so they can create something of a similar like again, Mass Effect. Mass Effect 3 felt like Mass Effect, true. It's got all the big checkboxes, but it's missing that magic touch, which is and Uncharted and because if you're the person who made everything from scratch, you know everything. You know exactly what this person's going to say, exactly how they're going to behave, because you have it all figured out in your head. The problem is trying to transfer all those things to the team.
I agree.
And it's getting really hard because eventually the best the team could do is, I mean, fanfiction is not the right way to use it, but it's kind of like a fan work when you tell your team to take this world that's already been established and using what they know so far about this world to write a new story. But the original person is going to be the one that knows everything.
I agree, Anthony, and that's why while I believe it'd be messed up, I kind of hope that like she finished the story before Naughty Dog gave her the kick.
Yeah.
While it's kind of messed up, it's like, okay, you finished writing Uncharted 4, now we're letting you go. Like, that kind of suck, but, I mean, for the sake of a good game, I hope that's what happened.
If she is the one who envisioned Uncharted, she knows the exact point to collapse a bridge. She knows the exact point to make water flood that ship that sank under the water. She knows the exact points. The other writers may or may not know when to do that. In fact, that's a little concern too. They might do that a bit too much, and then it gets ridiculous.
Hey guys, well, we spent quite a bit of time on this one. What's next on the list?
Let's move along. Briefly, PlayStation 4 has sold over 6 million units worldwide now.
Yeah, can you believe that? It's already gonna beat the Wii U by the end of this month, right?
Props to Sony. They learned from the PlayStation 3. They came out at a competitive price. They've been all about the gamers for the most part. Please remove the copyright protection for us trying to cover your games and capture it. But other than that, they've been focused on games. They've been supporting indie. They've been sticking to their word, and consumers are supporting that. They also announced that Killzone Shadowfall sold over 2.1 million copies. So that is awesome. The console is now available in Japan, which is great.
They also it is out in Japan now.
What's that?
It is out in Japan now.
Yeah, that's why I
keep forgetting that.
Yeah, it's out in Japan now. And they said that 13.7 million PlayStation 4 games have been sold, which is good. So
I bought 3 of them.
That's an attachment rate of about 2. Which seems
a
really
little bit
bad,
over 2, which isn't bad for the console. The console hasn't been out for 6 months yet, so that's not bad.
Yeah, you think about how often you buy brand new games.
And also, you got to factor in that doesn't include digital sales, and the best game for that system, Resogun, is digital.
Yeah,
and free.
Most people probably get paid for that.
Free.
But yeah, I mean, most of those people unfortunately probably have Call of Duty. Unfortunately, I'm sure Call of Duty is one of the big ones, and then Killzone, like I said, Killzone 2.1 million copies, which is pretty good, and Battlefield, I'm pretty sure, and Assassin's Creed. But
let's see, I have I'm gonna include retail only. I have Killzone, Madden, and I had Assassin's Creed, but I traded it in, and I'm probably gonna trade in Madden towards Infamous because I have hit Terminal Madden. I'm so good that I'm better than all my friends by a wide, almost disgusting margin. And I go online, and I can't get above the top 2% on the planet. And that bums me out. I want to be in the top 1%.
Well, if I go in the top 1%, probably play 4 or 5 games a day.
4 or 5, dude, I do 4 or 5 a day sometimes. Those guys probably do it like a job
every single day.
Yeah, and they probably do it every day. But
they probably also play it as probably one of their only few games, because I imagine that some of them are just football enthusiasts, and the only reason why they play a game is so they can try and starve off the what's it called, withdrawals of not having footballs on Sundays anymore for the next.
Which kind of sucks that they bought a next generation console just for Madden, because honestly, like, yes, it's a step up, but it's not a big step up.
And also that next gen console is like they probably because they got it. That means someone who wanted it or during the holiday season or would be playing, the Tomb Raiders, the upcoming Infamouses, and Titanfalls, didn't get one unless, Xbox Ones are available now. PS4s are kind of still hard to get out in the wild. But speaking of which, Amazon actually just restocked on PS4s.
Yeah, you just brought up the Ignite engine, and I'm just like, yeah, you talked about this being the next big revolution for your sports games. You even have RG3 talk about it, or talk some inspirational stuff to go along with your video. Yeah, I've got snow and 60 frames.
I am, however, looking forward to their UFC game. Their UFC game looks outstanding.
So 6 million, that's fantastic. Good for them. Good for everyone right now. The Xbox One isn't selling as well as the PS4, but still doing very well. While the Wii U is suffering, the 3DS is printing money.
Yeah, but even for the Wii U, it's still kind of a bit of a win situation for the year, because your games are starting to actually come out. Slowly.
Awesome games.
Slowly. But they're definitely coming out better than they did last year.
You have awesome games while everyone else is playing launch titles. And Titanfall. And in the case, PlayStation Infamous. But you have multiple games. You have Monster Hunter and Lego City Undercover and Wonderful 101 and Donkey Kong and Mario and Zelda. And Mario Kart's going to be out soon. And Smash Brothers and Bayonetta are probably going to be your holiday games.
Yeah, let's look at this as a win-win-win kind of situation. It's like, the Wii U is going to be outsold worldwide in lifetime sales by the PS4 this year, which looks dreadful for Nintendo, but at the same time, Nintendo's kind of like a pretty niche system. They're trying to market it to everybody, but at this point, the only people buying it are the enthusiasts, so...
To be fair, they still have actually sold more consoles than Xbox One. Barely.
But the Xbox One's going to catch up pretty soon.
Oh, I say next week when those Titanfall bundles.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe,
definitely.
It's like, would you like to buy just an Xbox One, or do you want the Xbox One that comes with a big, cool game made by the dudes who actually made the older Call of Duties?
To be fair, I was at Walmart. I've been going to Walmart a lot recently because I've been doing all the grocery shopping. I've had to get a bunch of stuff for my car recently. And the auto section is right next to games, so I'll wander over the game section for a little bit. Really been considering getting a copy of the Wonderful 101 because they just price cut it down to $30. I know that's a great game. It's a really good game. But anyway, Xbox Ones sold out at Walmart. PS4s sold out. Wii U's until today were sold out, and even after today, they only had one left. And to be fair, right now, if I was buying a console right now to play games right now, and I mean home console, otherwise I'd say buy a 3DS because it's better than all of the current home consoles put together.
Yeah, freaking buy a 3DS. You want a recent game? Bravely Default.
You want an amazing library? Pokemon, Theatrhythm, Mario.
You want an amazing Zelda. Library? Just look at last year.
Just last year, not even the other 2 years.
Freaking last year, I bought Fire Emblem, Animal Crossing, Shin Megami Tensei 4, Pokemon X, and The Legend of Zelda.
Project Cross Zone, Luigi's Mansion. Oh, God.
Yeah. Freaking last year was awesome for the 3DS. In addition to... And then you have, the Virtual Console on your 3DS, and a few little indie games occasionally come out on it.
And then the year before that, you had Kingdom Hearts, you had Mario Tennis. You had there's been a lot of good stuff on that system ever since late 2011. But going back to what we were talking about, but if I was buying a system right now, like a home console right now, to play games at this particular moment, it would be a Wii U. One, it's $100 cheaper than the PS4, $200 cheaper than the Xbox One. It does all the Netflix, Hulu bullshit that you want. It connects to your TV in some weird ways if you have cable. And it not only that, but it has the best library of games that comes with the game. For $300, you get the system with all the cables, plus you get either Super Mario U and Luigi U, or Zelda. Like,
yeah, but there's a slight problem. You said if you were to buy a console right now, well, the problem is a lot of people also think the future.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I mean, but for the future, though, the future, I can argue the future. You are going to get Nintendo. Nintendo, when they are on their A game, they are arguably the best developer in video games.
great, but that's not. But that's kind of a. That's like.
I realize that means about 2 to 3 games a year.
Yeah, it's kind of spread out quite a lot. Where it's like, okay. Meanwhile, at the competitors' party in the fancier areas. Okay, guys, guys, we got the new Mass Effect coming. Money. Okay, guys, we've got the next big shooter. Money. Hey, guys, we got the next big racing game. More money. You know, you get the point.
I get it, but I'm saying that, like, first off,
like if you're actually looking for quantity, not the Wii U is not the place to look.
But here's another part about this is the most underrated feature on the. It was one of the most underrated feature on the Wii, and in my opinion, it's one of the most underrated features on the Wii U. And I've been using it a lot recently because I've also been playing Super Metroid, the Virtual Console.
Yeah,
the Virtual Console is amazing. The fact that I can at a day of games we played Mega Man X, and I want to buy Mega Man X. I probably will with my next paycheck. And I can for $8, and it works on the tablet, it works on the TV, and it's a perfect emulation of Mega Man X. And they have all these other great games: Mega Man 2, all the Mario World, Mario 3, Mario 1. They got Zelda, Link to the Past, Zelda. They got Earthbound. They got all these great games. And then if you're actually willing to boot the thing into Wii mode, and don't mind playing with a classic controller, you have almost the entire, you have the greatest hits collection for the Genesis, Super Nintendo, N64, and NES, and TurboGrafx, and Neo Geo. Holy crap. That is an incredibly underrated feature. I mean,
but then again, PlayStation has PlayStation Classics.
Yeah, I agree. But even now,
it's not multiple platforms, like in the case of Nintendo, where they say, here's something from the Sega Saturn, and the Nintendo 64, and the Neo Geo, and the TurboGrafx. I mean, PlayStation doesn't really have that, but still they have, PlayStation Classics, and that's pretty darn huge.
It's such a shame that they can't get PS2 games to work, or most PS2 games.
From what one person has told me, you know how you can just download a Game Boy Advance emulator for your computer and just run any Game Boy Advance game?
Mm-hmm.
They still haven't figured out PS2 emulation perfectly yet.
No, they haven't. Same with
so that tells you how flippin' difficult it is to computers today still can't perfectly emulate all PlayStation 2 games, unlike the Game Boy Advance and stuff like that.
I mean,
which probably explains why they had to put an actual PS2 inside the original PS3 when it came out to get backwards compatibility.
I mean, you can brute force up to Dreamcast, and everything above that just needs help. But that's what I was saying. The Wii U, I feel as though it is the perfect console to buy right now, because you're still waiting for a library to get built on the other systems, and it's cheaper. So by the time that a library is built on the PS4 or the Xbox One, you'll be able to afford it, and you'll have had all this great time with the Wii U. I think I think that the Wii U is a perfect complementary system, because there are all points in the year where our primary system, whatever it is, isn't in use, and you use the Wii U. Right now, my PS4 is not in use. Thief looks like shit. And I called that because I said it looked like shit, and it's been doing very poorly. And nothing else is out on the PS4 for another 3 weeks. So what am I gonna play? Well, I'm gonna play on my Wii U. I'm gonna go back to the Virtual Console. I'm gonna play Donkey Kong. I'm gonna play all these other games, and I think that it's a very underrated system, and even this year it has some really good stuff coming to it. It has like I said, Mario Kart, Project X, Bayonetta, Smash. I mean, that's 4 really great titles that you can only play on it, and they haven't even had their E3 yet. We don't know what's like. Are we? We could be getting a Majora's Mask HD. Majora is in Smash Bros. We could be getting a. Oh, how funny would that be? A Majora's Mask HD. Dear God. We could be getting a new Punch Out. Little Mac is in Smash Bros. There's all kinds of stuff that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, on the PlayStation 4 front, I mean, like you said, starting within 2 to 3 weeks, there's a lot of games. There's Infamous, which is sure to take up a lot of time. There's Metal Gear Solid 5. Obviously not Phantom Pain, Ground Zeroes. And then, of course, if rumors are correct, Drive Club is supposed to be released in April, early April. So look for that. Look for the PlayStation Plus edition to be available. So you'll probably get, like, let's say 20 cars and maybe 2 or 3 tracks for free in the PlayStation Plus edition, and it'll be the full game. Which I played it at E3, and honestly was disappointed with it. And I'm glad they delayed it because it looks a lot better, and I'm really excited to check it out. Really excited. I'm really glad they delayed that game. So we'll see what happens. Because right now, honestly, like my PlayStation 4, I'll play a game of Madden here or there, but mainly my Xbox One's being used because I already beat Rise, which, by the way, Rise got a lot of negative criticism. And while I will agree the game gets extremely repetitive, it is a pretty good game. Do not sleep on Rise. If you have an Xbox One, at least rent the game. The multiplayer is pretty mediocre, but rent the game, play. It's relatively short. You can beat in about 6-7 hours, but it's pretty solid. I mean, I'm not saying it's Game of the Year material, but it's pretty solid. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. But right now, all I'm really playing is Forza on the Xbox One. I'm loving Forza. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with Drive Club. But yeah, I mean, if you're in an Xbox One, you also have Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes, and then you have Titanfall. So,
I mean, on the Xbox One, like, the thing though is, like, Infamous is gonna be like a 20-hour game, and then it's gonna go back on the shelf. Drive Club, I don't know yet if even it's gonna be good or not. Like, we don't know. And then Metal Gear is short also. And then I look over to Titanfall is the only one of those that's going to be a really long-lasting game. On the Xbox One side of things, like, I'm going to be the same way. Like, I'm probably going to rent Forza, and 1, to show off to Anthony because he's into cars. And 2, to do 60-minute access and enjoy a little bit of myself. And then I'm just going to be playing Killer Instinct.
And you should rent Rise. I'm telling you. At least give it a chance, Bronson.
I'll rent it. Like, we have to go through our so March is kind of hell month for Anthony and I, because right now I'm working multiple jobs and doing TGA. Anthony is in the middle of midterms, but we are still committed to getting quality content out to you, our fans. So that means over the next month we have 6-minute access of South Park, Dark Souls, Titanfall, Metal Gear, Final Fantasy, and if we can find a way to do it, Infamous.
Can I just ask, why do games always have to come out during the busiest parts of any school semester? Can I just ask that?
Because the busiest time of the school semester is when people are spending money too.
No. Here's the other thing too. How do students have so much time during the busiest times to like keep buying these games? It's just like, hey guys, let's put all of our games out in November and December. Well, guess what? If you're a college student, That's
Well, yeah,
kind
if you're
of
a
like
college
when all
student,
your
you're kind of screwed.
yeah,
but...
because that's when all the projects are due, and that's when you have to start studying for midterms. And so the other big time that games come out is March. March is when college midterms usually happen.
Yeah,
So
but
can I give you-
the thing is
So
in
as-
March you have a couple things. You have tax return, and for most companies that's when their fiscal year ends. So it's a good way to start the new year. And like I said, tax returns. Plus, it's kind of that you hit the holidays and
You know,
you
I
played out all
just
your
find that
holiday
pretty funny. Can I
games.
just say?
I mean, you would honestly think the best time to release games would be the summer. You would think because people are out of school, but
Everyone is bored.
but that's not the case. I mean, sure. I mean, we've had some games come out during the summer. I mean, what Metal Gear Solid 5? Did Metal Gear Solid 5 come out? Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5 came out during the
4.
summer.
4.
Infamous came out during the summer.
Last of Us.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4. That's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, the last.
It's like
of
Metal Gear
Us.
5 came out already? Where?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 is what I meant. So I mean, Max Payne came out during the summer. So I mean, yeah, you would think
Max Payne.
I liked it, but
Playing that game,
Nick, we
you would
want
say is
actual
painful.
good games on your. No, we want listing of actual good games. Max Payne
No.
isn't that good.
No one caught that. Some would say playing Max Payne is painful.
But
ha 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 ha. But I mean, you would think so, but and then obviously November and December and October. I mean, that doesn't really need to be explained. November is always the biggest month of the year because guess what? It's time to go shopping.
everyone
and
needs
Black Friday.
gifts.
So, Anthony, I'll tell you what my secret was when I was a college student and working and wanting to play games. I would do really, really well up until mid to early November. Like, be sitting on a solid, 95 or higher. That way, if I did fuck up, I would still get a B. And even then, what I would do is I would procrastinate like crazy and then go on 32-hour study benders and barely
yeah, I don't
get
work
it
like
done.
that, unfortunately.
Yeah, see, Anthony, you act like a responsible adult. I do, I fucking go nuts, basically. Like, oh, it's 2.5 days before the final? Well, I better stay up for the next 32 hours drinking Red Bulls and studying. And then somehow I get, a B, occasionally an A, occasionally a C, but usually a B. And I coast my way into the next set of classes. It's amazing. But also, by the time you're done with finals, you just feel like shit. Yeah, I don't know. Time management is fun, kids. You'll find,
It's a very, very important life skill.
Yeah.
Really important.
I
what I would
high school me.
I mean, frickin', and I learned this over time. Early teenage years, me kind of spent a little too much time being distracted. So I would be up until 2 or 3 in the morning doing projects, and then I found out that was extremely bad for my health and mental thinking and the ability to do anything the next morning. So, yeah, learned not to do things last minute because staying past midnight is.
So I was relatively busy for a high schooler. I did gamers club, I did football, I did track, I did theater, and in my freshman year I also did ROTC. And I would always bitch about how I never had enough time. If I said that, thinking back about how much free time I had back then, I should have slapped myself. In comparison to working, I guess I'll call it 2.5 jobs, plus TGA, so 3.5, plus having a personal life, you know, maintaining that. You have to go with friends on occasion, date, get out of your house, make sure you're not going nuts. Fun stuff like that. And like compare, like you just, if you want to play a lot of games, it's really all about time management. Like for me, my current schedule this week is I go to work at 3, I get off at 11. So like 11 so like 12 to 3 in the morning, that's my game time. That's where I get my 3 hours of gaming in.
What's that show that you showed me that was on game trailers about how if you care enough, you will have time?
Oh, Final Bossman.
Yes, that one. I was thinking for some reason Kyle Brotzman. I'm just like, that can't be right at all. That's the name of a former Boise State kicker.
Ooh, yeah. No, Kyle Bossman.
Okay, wow. Almost got the name right, but I know it's not Brotzman because the only reason why I remember Kyle Brotzman is because, in 2010 he kept missing field goals.
Yeah, no.
And Nevada Wolfpack beat the Boise State Broncos. And that was huge. Colin Kaepernick actually played that game. He was the quarterback at UNR, so yeah.
I went to a basketball game later that season, and every time that the Boise State team had to throw a free throw, everyone just started yelling, "Kyle Brotzman! Kyle Brotzman!"
Man, that game.
Well, that's a way to get famous.
Freaking kickers. That's the fear. But I don't know if it's a fear or not. But that's one of the problems you have to deal with it as a kicker is that once in a while you're gonna suck. But when you suck at that pivotal moment, like in what was it, Super Bowl in 1991, Bills, yep. Wide right, or Kyle Brotzman, they will remember that forever. So, yeah. Of course, 2010 was like that particular season, though, was like the last time the Nevada Wolfpack was actually very good, ever. Hey, Bronson, would you like to know that the Nevada Wolfpack recently lost our latest game to Las Vegas, so now we don't have the Fremont Cannon anymore?
I know that already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the football team's not that good anymore.
UNLV can go pound sand. God, I hate that.
Anyway, so what
just so you
about?
know, if you grew up in Reno, you really, really, chances are you're really going to hate the University of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And also, anybody who calls them the University of Nevada should be slapped. No, we are the University of Nevada. We are here first. We're the more important school.
The University of Nevada, Las Vegas is a glorified community college.
Fucking A, exactly.
Southern Nevada Community College, they were once called, or something?
Yes.
And not to mention, here's another cool thing about the University of Nevada, Reno. It's the University of Nevada, Reno. The Reno part is actually optional, because it kind of actually helps distinguish to outsiders that there's actually more than one University of Nevada campus. But anyways, the official name of University of Nevada is University of Nevada. That's it. Now, if you're part of the student government, they highly stress that to you a lot, but most people kind of actually don't care.
Unless you are from here. Then you give a shit because you don't want to be associated with UNLV.
Yeah, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, that is the name of the university, whereas up here, it is University of Nevada.
There is a community college up here better than UNLV. So...
UNLV does have a bigger campus and more students. I know it has more students being a bigger city. I know that for sure. Oh, yes, and UNR's Tier 1. We're a Tier 1 college. And much less expensive. I sound like one of those flippin' recruiters right now. I mean, this is about the time of year in which or I would say about 3 months ago, that would be about the time where the college starts sending out like 1 billion mails to every conceivable high school senior, to ask them to come.
Oh no, I remember getting letters from Division II schools be like, "You were a football player in high school, you should come play football here."
Division 2 is lower than Division 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was like, no.
I mean, actually, the other funny thing too about what they show you about college that I always find really funny and to be quite untrue from my experience, they always kind of show you college life as you hang out on the campus, the Greek life, the college is about the smiles and the beautiful campus and hanging out with people and getting involved in community and being in clubs and doing research, right? I don't think I've ever had a moment in college yet where I smiled like those people in the photos. Ever. Ever.
Community colleges.
Not to mention, to live the ideal college experience, you need to live in the dorms. So, and not many people live in the dorms.
Cheeseburger effect.
I mean, it's just. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Kyrie calls it a cheeseburger effect. I don't know if someone already coined that term before Kyrie, but yes, the cheeseburger effect. Okay, basically it's like dorms and clubs and a fitness center and high-end library resources, and your average college life actually never really touches those ever.
So on my end of the college thing, most of my experience when I wasn't in class was sitting around in the cafeteria waiting for my next class with other students bitching about class.
Yeah, that happens a lot. So it's not really like how the pictures tell you. Maybe that's what it's like if you were if someone paid your dorms, because the dorms are so expensive that, first off, why would you want to live at the dorms? Two, there are some apartments nearby that will cost way less to rent. And it's only like a 10 or 15 minute walk to the campus.
Anthony, it's because you're out of state. That's why.
I mean, you're out of state, but even if you are out of state, there's
if you're
no
out of
way
state, you don't know about those cheap motherfucking apartments until your sophomore year.
Yeah, and then you realize it's so expensive. I mean, like the dorms are so expensive that your parents have to pay for it. Is how I could see you living in them, because you have massive
scholarships.
Or like massive scholarships.
Like Tori is going to university. She's San Francisco Art Academy. She lives in the dorms, obviously, and just everything's paid for by her scholarships.
Yeah, or parents. Parents, yeah. If your parents have enough money, they could pay for that too. But even after that, you start to realize that either through via buddies that live off campus, you realize, oh wait, it's so much cheaper to live in an apartment. I mean, you probably don't get as nice of facilities or whatever, but still. Yeah,
so, I mean, I looked into out-of-state college when I was thinking about, like, okay, well, I'll finish up my degree over at University of Washington once I finish my associates here. Or even thought about just saying, fuck it, taking out a massive student loan and just immediately transferring to Seattle Central and then into Washington and living off my student loan. It's fucking expensive. Just, I think, what was I think they quoted me something like, if you live in the dorms and you're out of state, it's something like $12,000 a semester total. Like, fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Like, Anthony, like a semester here.
Bronson, I have a bigger figure that's going to blow your mind away, but I'm going to have to tell you that after this podcast, this video game podcast.
Well, Unscripted. It's, I think, about $5,000 a semester in-state for UNR. So, am I in the right ballpark? Or no?
I'll tell you after the podcast.
I know TMCC, it's $2,500 a semester, full-time. If you're in state. If you're out of state, it's 5. I know Seattle Central is 12,000 for out of state.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, yeah.
Moving along from colleges.
Yeah.
On to
Don't
Titanfall
go.
really quick. We briefly mentioned Titanfall. Titanfall comes out in less than 2 weeks. And Vince Zampella came out and talked about the game a little bit, pretty much saying that Titanfall was originally not supposed to be exclusive. And that the game's been in development for over 2.5 years, which would kind of hint towards that they kind of started on the 360 and not the Xbox One. Also, people have asked about, well, how about Titanfall 2? Will you make a sequel? And he's pretty much saying that, well, it depends how the first Titanfall does, and if the first Titanfall does well, they'll do a sequel. And that's very possible for them to bring it to the PlayStation 4. But knowing Microsoft, you better believe if Titanfall is a hit, that they will pay them whatever they want to keep Titanfall as an exclusive franchise to the Xbox One.
I kind of feel like EA already gave the team a blank check anyways to make Titanfall.
That's kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah, like you think about it, you're talking about a lot of senior people from Infinity Ward that left Infinity Ward, and these people have a lot of credibility. I mean, these are the people that made Call of Duty 1, 2, and 4. That's big. That's a big resume, and you want them to make your company a very big game that's going to get like a lot of money and good press. So you would give them all the resources that they would need to pull this off. A little surprised when I found out that it used the Source engine, right? It uses the Source. Yeah, I was a little surprised.
It's using the Source engine because this game probably started out. They probably started development on the Xbox 360 and probably the PlayStation 3.
You said that Titanfall was originally not supposed to be exclusive, or supposed to be exclusive?
Nah, Vince Zampella said it was originally not supposed to be exclusive. It says,
how is it exclusive now? It's on PC and 360. Sorry, PC and Xbox One.
It's not. But it's not. It wasn't supposed to be exclusive. It wasn't supposed to exclude the PlayStation platform, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and let me just. We're not going to spend too much time on this. Let me ask you guys this. So, we haven't seen any gameplay whatsoever of the Xbox 360 version. And here's my thing. I have 2 theories. One, it's because it's terrible and it's bad and it's going to be like a downgraded port. Or 2, which I think this is the case, and let me know your guys' thoughts, is Titanfall, yes, it does look good on the Xbox One, but it's not visually stunning. I honestly think that they just solely want to focus on... I honestly think Titanfall, when it comes out for 360, it's going to be just as solid. It's just not going to be as visually incredible. I wouldn't say incredible. It's just not going to be as visually attractive. I think it's still going to look really good and play just as well, but they want to hone in on the fact that they want to sell Xbox Ones with this. I'm pretty sure, and we'll see, I mean, the Xbox, and that's the other thing. If they really started development on the Xbox 360 version first, why is the Xbox 360 version coming out after the Xbox One version? Why was it delayed? It's probably delayed because they want to spend that time and get that initial time frame of people to buy the Xbox One for Titanfall. But we'll see. But my prediction is that Titanfall on the Xbox 360 probably runs just as well as it does on the Xbox One. It might look visually downgraded just a tiny bit, but they just really want to take this and pound it in on the fact that it's on the Xbox One and make it seem as if it's only coming out on the Xbox One, when in fact it's also coming out on PC and it's also coming out on Xbox 360. What I think will be for what I feel will deliver a very similar experience.
Here's what that second theory you gave about making it seem like the Xbox One game. That reminded me of Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Right there. You think about it. When you say Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, what do people say? Oh, it's that Wii game. I bought it on the Wii. It was the thing that launched on the Wii. That was cool. Yeah, I remember that Wii game. Thing was, at about 2 or 3 weeks later, there was the GameCube version of Twilight Princess, which was originally it had Link's left-handedness. It used conventional controls, and the world wasn't mirrored and that kind of stuff. But it came after the Wii version, so not many people talk about it like it's a GameCube game. They talk about it as a Wii game because it launched on the Wii. So I think that's a very good point. I think what you said right there, Nick, is a very good point, because I think Titanfall is going to be remembered as an Xbox One game, not that it was originally developed as a 360 game. Like, Twilight Princess had the same sort of background, too. Twilight Princess was supposed to be a fully fledged GameCube game when it was announced in 2004. Thing is, come 2005, they needed to delay it, and then when 2006 happened, they realized, oh, let's just put this on the Wii and, give it as a, show what the Wii can sort of do. And so they delayed it further, and then delayed the GameCube version after the Wii launch.
Exactly. I think that's the exact same situation we're in with Titanfall. It's on the source engine. It's not using a new engine. It's the source engine which runs on PlayStation 3 and 360.
Yeah,
so I guarantee you that they've been working on Titanfall. They probably had it running on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. And then Microsoft came to them and said, hey, we need a big game for the Xbox One. We'll pay you guys whatever you want. Let's make this happen. But we need to make it seem as if it's an Xbox One game. We'll let you release it on 360 and PC, but we have to make it seem like an Xbox One game. We have to make this sell like Xbox One.
So I understand why you would play it on the PC. I don't get why you'd play it on 360.
Because if you're a 360, if you're not a PC gamer and you own a 360 and don't own an Xbox One.
Yeah, but like the thing I've kind of looked at, realizing this isn't like the Wii version of Twilight Princess, where the differences are progressive scan, widescreen, and the controller. The difference is going to be big. I've seen Titanfall on what will probably be the 360 equivalent, and the full-on version of Titanfall. And while it looks good on the lower end, it's still not nearly as good as it does on the high end. And I've played Source Engine games on the 360, the orange box mainly, and after going to the PC version, it's disgusting.
Well, yeah, but then you're talking about the whole console versus PC thing, which you can't really do that because then look at all the games that came out at the end of the last console cycle, like Borderlands 2, Assassin's Creed, and then compare them to the PC version. The PC version blew them all out the water.
Yeah, but like on the other end of this, there is like when you see Titanfall, how many people are gonna like see trailers of that, buy the 360 version, and instantly be disappointed?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think people will be disappointed buying it on the 360. I am willing to bet that Titanfall on the Xbox 360 will be like Titanfall on the Xbox One, with just it won't look quite as good, but I'm pretty sure it's going to look pretty similar because Titanfall, I'm sorry, but on the Xbox One, Titanfall does not look all that great. It does not. I mean,
there's another concern. In the case of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, it's the same Nintendo, the same team. Whereas Titanfall on the 360, I believe, is handled by a separate developer under supervision by Respawn.
Well, probably at a certain point, but they probably had most of that framework configured and done with their original team. You gotta think about that. Like, they started Respawn, they had to be working on something all this time. They've been working on it for 2.5 years. So, who knows, whenever Microsoft came in to make that deal to make it for the Xbox One, they could have probably been coding and developing on the Xbox 360 for well over a year before they even handed it over. I mean, we don't know the exact facts and everything, and we'll kind of see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll do something that's very unethical, and they'll take the Xbox 360 version and be like, okay, we can make it look this good, but we really want to push the Xbox One version, so let's lower the graphics. I mean, maybe they'll do something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there's like some catch if you buy the 360 version because it's like.
Well, that's how they want to make it seem, but who knows? It might release and it might be just as good, just not quite as visually appealing. But they want to make it seem
like in this
okay,
case,
they're not talking about the 360 version. I might as well go ahead and buy an Xbox One, or I'll just get it from my PC. But I guarantee, I'm willing to bet. If I had to bet on any of these circumstances, I think Titanfall on the 360 is going to be just as good as on the Xbox One, just not quite as visually appealing. That's my prediction. We'll see later this month, though.
It might look acceptable, but the other thing I'm kind of concerned about is that there's like probably this colossal gap between the 360 and the Xbox One, because when you're talking about Zelda Twilight Princess, the Wii was essentially the Wii components were basically just GameCube components, just kind of ran slightly faster. So and so they basically can look the same, mostly. I gotta feel like there's some catch if you use Titanfall in 360. It feels like there's a catch because there's such a big performance gap that it's like, okay, maybe it'll look worse. That's expected, but is it going to run decently?
I think it will. I honestly think it will.
I mean, I know they worked on it on the 360 for a while before they decided to make it for the Xbox One. I don't know if I want to use the words ported up to the Xbox One or not, but yeah.
I mean, it'd be different if Titanfall was built with a brand new engine and they just wanted it to be on 360, so they ported it down to the 360. Then I'd agree, but that's not the situation at all. This game started on the 360 and PlayStation 3 with the source engine. That's where it started. So I honestly don't think it's going to run poorly at all. Well, like I said, we'll have to wait and see. I just wouldn't be surprised at all if this game comes out on 360 and it runs really well and it looks good, just not quite as good, and they just continuously. I mean, they're going to advertise Titanfall on TV, and you're not going to see 360. You're going to see Titanfall exclusive. Or they might not be able to say that because it's technically not true, but they'll have Titanfall and it'll end with Xbox One.
Better with Xbox One.
Yeah, you're gonna constantly see Xbox One, Xbox One, Xbox One, and you're gonna be like, oh, it's also coming out on 360, and it kind of gives you that feel that I don't know if I want to do that. But
oh man, the 360, it's so old. I mean, that's like one of the reasons why I don't think the 360 version is going to be that noticed. For one thing, the 360 is pretty dead now. There's nothing left happening on it. Just next to nothing.
Yeah, it's just
the 360's lifespan has kind of pretty much felt like it died at the end of 2012. Was when after Halo 4, everything just kind of fell off a cliff, and then 360 stopped being relevant.
And even the lead up to that was slow, depressing death. Other than Dance Central, there wasn't much. But what's our next news story? Let's move this along a little bit.
Well, before we move on to the next news story, I just want to ask you guys a question. And I'm curious. So, what do you guys think? Let's say 30 days from release, because obviously they release on two different days. 30 days from release for each game. Which game do you think is going to have more on sales within 30 days? Xbox One, you have the advantage of it fully being marketed on Xbox One. But the Xbox 360, you have the advantage of millions and millions and millions of consoles being out there. You got to think about it this way. If I own an Xbox 360 if I don't own a next generation console and I don't own a gaming PC, nothing's really came out recently, at least on the Xbox front.
No, there has been.
So if I want a new game, let me get Titanfall. Because the thing is, if you're a gamer, you know it's coming out on 360. So let me ask you guys this. Within 30 days of release, which console, excluding PC, which console do you think it will sell more on? Not talking about in the long run. Let's just say a month. After each release, do you think it'll have more sales on the Xbox One or on the Xbox 360?
I'm still going to say Xbox One. And also, partly because the 360 is going to be splitting its fucking games next month up because it has Metal Gear, it has South Park, or this month, it has Metal Gear, it has South Park, it has Dark Souls, and it has Titanfall. All that there is on Xbox One, plus Xbox One being a system seller, is Titanfall. That's it. It is the king. It doesn't have to compete with South Park. It doesn't have to compete with Dark Souls. It doesn't have to compete with Metal Gear. And it doesn't, ironically enough, have to compete with it does actually have to compete with itself, because a lot of people who own 360s own Xbox Ones.
Okay, how about you, Anthony?
Whether Titanfall will sell more on Xbox One and 360?
After 30 months of release, after a month of release.
After a month release, I think the Xbox One version will sell better. Because the 360 is just kind of fallen off out of people's minds now. It's old, it's retired, its days are long gone now. It's time to move on to something new. Like, that's the perception I'm feeling right now. In the case of the PlayStation 3, you still kind of feel like the PlayStation 3 still has some presence, especially when you're talking about RPGs. Like, you can still say, oh yeah, Persona 5 is happening, Tales of Xillia 2 is happening. Like, you can still name some games that are happening on the PlayStation 3, and you still get this impression that it still has life in it. Xbox 360, it's gone. After Halo 4, it's pretty much time to retire the thing, and Microsoft's kind of treating it that way too. Sony is talking a lot of PlayStation 4, but it's not like they're... Somehow I get the impression that PlayStation 3 still exists in their minds.
Well, yeah, Sony always does. Like, Microsoft, I mean, you look at the original Xbox, the second 360 come out, I remember the E3 leading up to the 360, they're like, we're going to have 100 and some odd games for Xbox. They show the clip, like there's 2 exclusives. One of them's actually on PC. And then they show all this awesome 360 stuff that looks way more impressive. And just that's how Microsoft rolls. It's like, the new console's out, old ones maybe getting some multi-plats, then cut it off. Sony's like, we will support our older brother until our next gen comes out, because that's just how we roll. I mean, PS2 didn't get discontinued until last year. How fucking weird is that?
Well, that's because that's the PS2.
Still,
it's kind of a bit unique. It's kind of a bit unique.
But PS1 lasted from 96 to 04. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Alright, I'll provide my insight. I do believe, also in part because of the bundle, I do think it will sell more on the Xbox One, but I do expect the Xbox 360 version to be closely behind, like close. Like, I'm talking about, there's almost 4 million Xbox One, so within a month I could see Titanfall doing 1.5 million. I wouldn't be surprised if on 360 we see 1 million or 1.25 million. And if for some reason we do see the 360 version outsell the Xbox One version within the first 30 days, I honestly will say I wouldn't be too surprised.
Alright, I got it.
Just because of the fact that, there's 70, 80 million Xbox 360s out there, there's less than 4 million Xbox Ones.
Alright, so I got a nuts prediction here, but I have a good feeling on this one. I think Dark Souls, between all its versions, PS3, 360, and PC, will outsell Titanfall.
I think that's a little bold, because Titanfall has guns, and, guns. Guns are popular.
I realize.
Wait, so Dark Souls, just on 360 or on all platforms?
On all platforms together will outsell Titanfall on both its platforms.
Okay. Dark Souls is talked about a lot because it has an extremely loyal fan following, and it's, very good.
Oh,
but Titanfall has the big
nuts.
mainstream appeal. That's like how that's like me saying, forget. My analogy's not gonna work, but still, it's it's guns with giant robots.
You think that Dark Souls on PS3, 360, and PC will sell more than Titanfall on PC, Xbox One, and Xbox 360?
Yep.
Ooh, I'd have to disagree with you there.
I
have to disagree.
We will see.
What did the first Dark Souls sell?
Let's find out, kids.
It's talked about a lot because it's actually a very good game and has a lot of fans. But just because it's talked about a lot doesn't necessarily mean it sells better.
Yeah, I'm curious. What did Dark Souls sell on all 3 platforms on the first title?
I am about to find out. This does not include digital downloads, by the way. Otherwise,
before I completely oppose that.
Alright. So, worldwide, on all platforms, Dark Souls has sold 3 million copies.
Yeah, I disagree with you.
Not including digital downloads, though.
I still disagree with you.
See, Titanfall is available also as a digital download.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that.
Here's the thing. It's Titanfall. First off, try pitching Dark Souls to an average shooter gamer. Sorry, not shooter gamer, but kind of like the kind of person that plays Call of Duty and Battlefield. Not going to work. And those kinds of people probably highly outnumber the Dark Souls people. Dark Souls has a very loyal following and a very committed following. And, Dark Souls is very respectable. Titanfall has guns and giant mech robots.
And it won't have near the marketing money either.
It also has a lot of marketing money, yeah.
Alright, well, I'm saying we will see, because I think a lot of people don't know that there's a 360 version of that game. I think
it's coming out after the Xbox One, right? The Xbox One version?
Yeah,
that I think that will definitely be a big reason why the 360 version won't catch up very easily.
And I think
because when it comes out on Xbox One, that's how people are going to talk about it, much like how when people talked about Zelda Twilight Princess.
Well, when I said a month, I mean a month from each of their releases. So
yes, even then, it's like, oh man, I want to play Titanfall. Man, I gotta get it on PC or on Xbox One. 360 never popped in.
We'll see what happens. I'm really excited.
And the average person is going to see an ad for it on the Xbox One, and you're going to have to dig a bit to see that, oh, it's on 360, but do I want the game that, might look worse or run worse and isn't the real version? Actually, is Xbox One and 360 cross-platform?
No. Nope.
Okay, so what happens if all your friends buy the Xbox One version? Or one of them does?
Well, then you're fucked.
Yeah, that's probably not a problem too.
So let's see. I really wish there was a way to check how many users on Steam bought a game, because I know Dark Souls has done really well on Steam. But oh well, we'll see. I'm actually kind of looking forward to trying Dark Souls with Bremen. And then the 60-minute access to that game is going to be hilarious, because it's just going to be me dying for 60 minutes. Over and over and over again.
Go defeat the first boss. Actual first boss.
Well, if it follows the same pattern that Joe shows me, I want to be as fast as possible and have a lance, and then just run up behind stuff and stab it.
I remember we had that little competition a long time ago when you and I and a few buddies were like, okay, let's have a competition to see who can get the furthest into Dark Souls. Yep. And I believe I only beat the first actual boss and then stopped.
I kept dying on the first boss.
Yeah, that was like in Demon Souls.
and then Mark beat it.
Yeah.
Mark finished it. So, and he's actually kind of excited for the new one. So, those games are really good. The thing is, I hear Dark Souls. I actually want to give Dark Souls more of a chance than I did Demon Souls, because I hear Dark Souls, like Demon Souls, you just have to learn through attrition. Like you just have to learn through like pounding your head against the brick wall until it breaks. Dark Souls actually tells you things and tries to educate you a little bit. So. It's still pounding your head against a wall, but at least
you have guidance to pound the correct side of your head against the wall to avoid a concussion.
Yeah, basically.
Not really saying much, because you're still probably gonna have head trauma when it's all over, but at least it hurts a bit less.
Yeah, and like I understand why those games are popular, because if those games came out when I was 12, 13, they would have been my favorite games. But because they're just so unbelievably... Because Because Bronson, age 10 to age 14, 15, is when he had a lot of free time, not much disposable income. So when he got a game, he beat it on normal, hard, very hard, and what the fuck is this bullshit difficulty. And I would just I beat Ninja Gaiden on the original Xbox on the hardest difficulty. But now, I'm at a point in my life where I have about as much disposable income as I do time, in which it's not much of either. So, again, I just cannot spend the time that you need to dedicate to learn one of those games and be successful at them. But like I said, I understand why they're popular, because when you learn them, and when you get into that world, you learn them, and you start to experience the high that is those games, it's awesome. It's fracking amazing. It's so much fun. It's so much fun figuring out those games and really getting into them. The problem is, like you said, you need a lot of time and dedication to beat your face into a wall over and over and over again to understand how it works. You know? Or you need friends who've done that shit for you and can tell you what to do. So that's actually what I might do. I might just wait for Joe to get Dark Souls 2 and people I know to get it, and then get it myself, and then, use their knowledge so I don't have to pound my face into the wall. So, do we have any other news stories?
The Xbox One update.
Oh, yes. Oh, crap. I had that news story pulled up. Give me a minute.
So, we're treating system updates as news stories now? Really? Or is it like the last one in which it was actually stupid enough to the point where we could actually talk about it?
This one is actually pretty big.
Okay, so Xbox One updates rolling out, and I'm pulling it up right now. Also, Titanfall is getting paid and free DLC. But, let's see.
Big surprise there.
Yep. Alright. Oh my god, they put the updates in a video. Are you kidding me? That's obnoxious.
It's okay, I've got a list right now.
Okay, go for it.
March 4th, 1 day ago. Required? Yes. This is from Wiki, so every time I read everything on a wiki, I always give the disclaimer, may or may not be true.
The first word is the first sentence is Xbox sucks. There you go.
Okay. Okay. New updated features, improved multiplayer and party chat, cross-title party chat on by default, easier multiplayer invites, easier multiplayer joining, ability to see what the people in your party are... What? Ability to see what people in your party are doing. Isn't that like the 360?
Yeah.
Yeah, the party system on the Xbox One was significantly lower in quality than the 360, believe it or not.
You and I actually used the PS4 party system today, which was actually surprisingly good.
Wait, so from what I'm hearing is that they're stripping out features and then adding features over time to make it seem like they actually care.
Dennis system, everyone.
I'm sorry, you got your old system, which had some pretty good online features, and then you take it out in the new thing and then reintroduce it over time to make it seem so that way you can bullshit the PR excuse by saying, we listen to our customers and we are improving the multiplayer and party chat aspects by listening to your feedback.
No, I'm telling you what happened is they didn't have all this shit ready for launch, but they wanted to launch for Christmas because as their excuse is but Christmas, and they didn't want to have a situation like they've had in the past where Sony came out before Microsoft or Microsoft before Sony, so both these systems ended up being rushed. Ironically enough, the Xbox One, because of all its media bullshit that it's trying to do, ended up being the more rushed of the two. So
okay,
Sony's
that is probably the most logical explanation, but still,
Sony's
it's like, what?
Although because even then, Sony's is infinitely more annoying to us because of HDCP. God damn it, fuck my life.
Yeah, but still, I read this and I'm just like, really? You know what? There is a game that actually did do that, and I was actually quite ticked off. Gran Turismo 6. Hey guys, here's Gran Turismo 6. We stripped out a lot of fat, which is great, but we also, in the process, and in stripping out the fat, took out some features that were in Gran Turismo 5, so you have a game that's lighter in content than was in Gran Turismo 5, but that's okay, we're reintroducing it over time. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Improved friends list and profile. Improved friends list utility and speed of access. Ability to see people you recently played... What? Ability to see people you recently played games with. Isn't that a PlayStation 3 and 360 feature also?
Yep. And PS4 and Vita.
Actually, fun trivia. The last time I played against anybody online on my Xbox 360 was Madden NFL 13 from a year and a half ago. Yeah. Okay, anyways. See when friends are broadcasting, including live broadcast thumbnails in activity feed. That's kind of cool. Get to a friend's profile faster using type ahead suggestions. I'm guessing that's like Google. Contextual app menu, actions on friends list and activity feed items. Enabled more multiplayer, join an invite. Actions on user profiles, and 54 new contest winning gamer picks.
They also are adding Twitch in this update coming up soon.
Yeah, broadcast gameplay on Twitch TV through Xbox Live.
Yeah, so
voice support for starting and ending broadcast.
They're a little late to that party, but Penny Arcade actually showed it off recently, and it looked really good. So I don't know how to feel about that, but I don't know. At least they're getting Twitch streaming in there and more features and accessibility.
Improved party system, because the party system on it before was kind of lackluster.
Yeah, so...
okay, so other things that they have. Bring out social and home. See favorite friends currently online. That's kind of nice, actually, because if you have a friends list of like 100 people, there are some that you particularly care more than others. See friends broadcasting gameplay.
That you can already do on other systems, but okay.
Miscellaneous stuff. Improved notification center experiences, including quiet mode. View game clips while in snap mode. That's kind of cool, actually. Watch a quick video tip on how to do something and do it in game.
Technically, you can already do that shit through YouTube, though. So I mean,
I don't know. It just says on this wiki article, view game clips while in snap mode.
All right, whatever.
Protect user settings with passkey. Okay, browser improvements for those who use their internet on their Xbox Ones. Control Bing and Google Maps with gesture and controller. Quick search when highlighting on a page. When searching, bring search on a Google directly to blah blah blah. New devices. Firmware update to the Xbox One controller to support the Xbox One stereo headset adapter. Support for first and third party headsets and driver updates for the media remote.
Thank God. Oh, I'm so happy I can use my Astros with it. Hallelujah, hallelujah. I don't know. Once again,
say specifically which ones work though.
I'm so mad about this because like anything with optical, like that thing has optical out. It should just fucking work. It works on the goddamn PS4. It works on the PS3. It works on their older system. Like, why the fuck didn't they just make it like the 360 with optical out?
I don't know. Why didn't they use the same party chat features as were on the 360? Why did they introduce the new feature of being able to find people you've recently played with? Why did they decide that they're not going to show people how much space you have left on their hard drive until last month?
God,
freaking what the hell? That really blew my mind right there. It's like, really? You're gonna now just recently tell people how much space they have left on their hard drives and how much battery life they have in their motion controls? That's like buying a car without the gas meter, and then they added the gas meter about 2 months after you purchased your car.
Can you imagine that as a car salesman? So here is the new 2015 blah 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 blah. And you go in to test drive it, and you're like, where's the gas meter? Well, you see, we are working on optimizing the gas meter, so if you bring the car back in 2 months, we will install it for you at no extra cost.
Now, I understand that it's not like... I know it's not like an actual gas meter, because let's be honest, when you have a 500 gigabyte hard drive and you just got your game console, it's pretty hard to fill up all 500 gigabytes in like 3 or 4 months. Unlike the gas meter, where if after driving 200 miles, it might run out.
Hell, even with all these PlayStation Plus games, I'm nowhere near close to filling up my PlayStation hard drive.
I know, but still, it's like, why do you make a computing device with storage?
Those PlayStation Plus games aren't full-blown titles.
Yeah, if you really think DC about Universe
it, if you own an Xbox One and you went all digital and you got like Call of Duty and Battlefield and Assassin's Creed and Forza and Dead Rising and Rise, I'm pretty sure you'd be close, if not filled it up by now.
I mean, yeah, it's just like, obviously the hard drive is not really exactly like a gas meter, and it's not as tragic because it's still really early, but still, it kind of makes no sense that you provide storage that can run out, but you don't give any indication of how full it is until, like, later, which makes no sense to me.
Well, you see, Anthony, thanks to the power of the cloud.
Yeah, because the cloud in the future is going to solve all of our freaking storage problems, right? Man, it's going to be freaking great. So, man, the cloud is totally alive and well right now. I can use the cloud right now, right? All 1 terabyte of storage I've got on it, right?
I got 2 minor news stories, then we have a massive crap load of questions to get done with. Killzone Shadowfall is getting new multiplayer DLC and maps, and it will be free. We're getting a new character class known as the Insurgent, who has the ability to hack and steal, 3 new abilities, 3 new weapons, a new single-player elite mode, 3 lives, hard difficulty.
Awesome.
New online collectible mode, Insurgent owl skins, and new challenges and trophies. And the maps will be free, but not any of the other stuff. So, and there's a free multi-player trial going on right now until March 11th. As for the other piece of news, the past 2 weeks we reported on Twitch Plays Pokemon. They did it. They beat Pokemon. It happened.
That's very. You know, I was very surprised that they managed to beat it as fast as they did.
16 days. So yeah, just so you all know, for 100,000 monkeys on 1 typewriter, it takes 16 days to make Hamlet. Or in this case, beat Pokemon. They actually decided they are doing Gen 2. They're in the middle of Gen 2 right now. And it has taken 4... Well, and at first I thought the magic was dead. And apparently it just takes 4 badges for the magic to start again. Right now, there are people arguing that Feraligatr is broken and making it too easy for them. So half the people are trying to release Feraligatr, while half the people are trying to keep him. And I'm not done. This gets better. It's a civil war. And recently, Togepi, or Lord Omelette, was released on accident while trying to release Feraligatr. Yep. It's amazing and dumb, and I love it. And they're actually making pretty good pace in Gen 2. Taking longer, obviously, because that's a more complicated game. But still. Oh, it's also taking longer because the guy who created this is an absolute asshole. And you know how it used to switch between... So what it used to be is people would vote on whether it's anarchy mode or democracy mode.
Yeah.
And anarchy is when every button command entered into chat does something. Democracy is the most... I think it was like 30 seconds. The most popular one would be the one to go up. Well, that's not the case anymore. They have decided that I think it was every hour. I want to say it's every hour. It'll switch over to democracy mode, and then you can vote to switch it back.
But anarchy mode is how you get the dude walking really retarded lines all the time.
Yeah. Right now it's in democracy mode. And if enough people vote anarchy, it'll go back to anarchy.
Yeah, but normally it goes to anarchy because I remember watching that feed, and towards the end is when the bar heavily started skewing towards anarchy and never recovered.
I'll say this. One thing I love is all the fan art to come out of this. I mean, it has been fantastic.
Is it art or is it a bunch of ridiculous pictures?
It's both. Like the thing I just sent you is ridiculous pictures, but there has been some amazing art. One of my favorites was like 15 hours before the start of the Crystal stream. It showed Gold, or as he's called now, AJ, sitting in his room, and it says "up," and then he goes, "What was that?" And just I love how like it's still pretty popular. Like it's not as popular as it once was, where it was like 40, 50,000 average. Now it's about half that. Still, this is fantastic, and I love how it's just become snowballed in this weird thing, and it created its own religion. By the way, praise Helix.
Well, that religion was from Red. Is there a new one in Gold and Silver, or is it just not happening yet?
Kinda, like, so far, the closest thing they got was Lord Omelette.
Okay, that's a problem, because that's not as cool as Helix.
No, it's not. The whole thing, like, once again, it hasn't been as magical. There's been some funny moments, like they got Fly, and as predicted in the last stream, Fly has just caused them to fuck up horribly. You know the gym with Morty in it with all the holes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been hilarious. They're almost to Morty. Woo. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, it hasn't been as magical. Dang, it's only been 3 days and they already have 4 badges.
Yeah, but there are 16 to get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And that Elite Four is really hard, in my experience.
I don't know. I had Feraligatr and Lugia, and I just whooped its ass. But that was me. Anyway, I love this thing. I really like the first run is always going to be more memorable, and I am forever a member of the Church of Helix. So, and also for those of you wondering, there are these fantastic songs made by the Church of Helix Choir. This is a real thing. I'm not kidding.
Do they have like an actual choir, or is it just a bunch of instruments?
Yeah, they have an actual choir, and it is on Bandcamp. Look up the Church of Helix Choir, and they have 2 songs. One is Praise the Helix, and then the other one is...
Okay, that's starting to get borderline scary now. Can I just say?
Oh, it gets better. I'm not done.
No, this is getting kind of scary.
And then there is Bloody Sunday, which is about when they went to the power plant, got Zapdos with the Master Ball, and then proceeded to release X-Cabbage, Dig Rat, and Ducks. So, and like people have made this fan art, and of course the first 2 released were Jay Leno and their Charmeleon Abby. So like at the top it shows Burn Jesus Pidgeot with a crying angel Charmeleon and a Rattata with Jay Leno's head on it. One of my favorite memes was from Breaking Bad, where they leave this dude sitting here in this one area under witness protection, and they never go back to it. So there's this meme of him just sitting there. And then they left Ghastly at the daycare, and he's just been sitting there. So, yeah. I don't know. This has been great. This is going to probably be the last time we talk about it outside of a Gamecast. I know I've been tweeting you guys, not tweeting, texting you guys, dumb pictures and updates constantly. Nick, I don't even think you understand them at this point.
I kind of see them, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So I want to see another game do this and kind of explode the way this did. I don't know what it would be, but yeah. So anyway, are we ready for comments?
Yes.
All right, we're going to go back to 2 weeks ago because some questions Alex and I couldn't really answer. So Kratos says, I would definitely buy a Snowball shirt with Anthony on it. All right. Insomnium 2 says, man, don't have it, never will. Have the hardware the game was releasing on. And since I don't game on PC, I'll skip this one. But shooters aren't my thing. Stop playing COD after Modern Warfare. As far as online games go, The Last of Us is more like it. I'll fire it up right away. I think that's dumb to say that. Because I remember I said, I'll never own a PS3. I have owned 3 PlayStation 3s. Maybe someday I'll own 4 PlayStation 4s. I might actually own 2 PS2 soon.
You do realize this trend is going to get really ridiculous and almost impossible and expensive, like about 10 years or 20 years from now, right?
Yes.
Can you possibly find 10 PlayStation
10?
I mean, unless Sony brings out a new gaming line, then it's going to become easy again, because all you need is one for whatever their next brand name is, but still.
Did you? By the way, you've seen the 3 PlayStation 3s video? Did you see the update? Did you guys see the updated one they did?
Oh yeah, you showed me.
No.
Nick,
he's like, I understand that I was being a prick, and that the video was like, so that's why I decided to do 4.
It's the same guy.
That's he gives the update. He's just like, I understand that my video may seem like a bit like a jerk, which is why I'm proud to say that I now have 4 PlayStation 4s. And he shows all 4 of them sitting there. Yeah, same guy, just older.
It's older. Yeah, it's Loading Ready Run. They make amazing comedy sketches for the Escapist. In fact, one of my favorites was about what it's like sharing a hotel room at a con. I died laughing at that. Hold on, Nick. I'll post it in the chat for you to watch later.
All right.
So, I don't know. I think it's dumb to say you never will own the hardware. For all you know, they could release just this really killer third-person shooter like The Last of Us, and then you'd be like, oh, crap. Yeah. And what if someone gave you an Xbox? Would you just, like, be a jerk and say, no, I don't want an Xbox? What kind of dick would do that?
No, he'd sell it and then go buy him another PlayStation 4.
Because you need 2. You need 2 PS4s.
The power of PlayStation.
Well, I need 4 PS4s, so I guess you do need 2. Because I did have 3 PS3s at one point. Sold one to Ben, sold one to get my PS4. Jaceway says, I wish I was good at Photoshop so I could make a good image. Would definitely buy one, though. Do you guys plan on buying the Order 1886? Too early for me to tell about the Order. Like I said, total, we have like 12 people asking for Anthony shirts. We need 88 more. Nick
12? 12.
Oh, I've got personal message, and then the next, in last week's comments, we get a couple
that somehow added up to 12.
Yeah. 88 more to go, peeps. Come on.
Hey, it's not like this idea is gonna time out or anything. The idea will stay here.
Anyway, as far as the Order, I don't know. Like, it's too early for me to tell.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm definitely excited for it, but definitely need to. I'll say this: at the very least, I'll rent it. Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll see a lot more at E3. I'm excited for it though. But at this point, we don't really know too much.
All right, so Albreeze says,
Anthony, does the Order interest you? Anthony.
Sorry, what? I was distracted.
Does the Order interest you?
Not really, because I know so little about it. I mean, I know it's produced by Santa Monica, but it's also being worked on by another team. And I normally like cinematic experiences as long as you don't overdo it. And the Order 1886 is promising like the next big revolution in gaming cinematics, in which it's so fluent and smooth it'll blow your mind away, and it's going to be great, and it's going to look beautiful while doing it too. And so, that kind of interests me, but at the same time I also play my games, so The gameplay, what little there was of it, I looked at it and I was like, it looks suspiciously like Gears of War. The way the camera angle sways around and the cover kind of thing just reminds me so much of Gears of War. Now, Gears of War is highly respectable, and I used to play Gears 2 a lot, but at the same time, it's like, eh. So part of me is like, the tech they're doing is going to be cool, but part of me is also going, I kind of don't care. Because the gameplay doesn't look like I'm going to be interested in it.
All right, we got a buttload more of these to go, so we got to move this along. Alex, thank you for posting that picture. It's not exactly what I'm thinking of, but
it's the closest we've got so far.
It's the closest we've got so far. Bremen is going to be. I'll ask Bremen to make a default picture soon, so we can have something to aim for our T-shirt goal. You know. I don't know, I think Nick, I don't know about you, but I think, keeping 50 shirts in the store for people to buy would be a good idea.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, and then if they sell out, we'll obviously print more. Just so you know, they're going to be black because we're cheap, and black shirts are cheap to make. And also probably because Nick and I will be the ones to be financing them.
Wait, black shirts are cheaper than white shirts?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It is really cheap to just mass print black shirts.
Yeah, I would think they were expensive because of all the ink that you would need to make them black or whatever.
Yeah, well, who knows? Jenny Smith says, I'm back! Assuming all of you had both consoles, if you only get one, which one do you get? Titanfall or Infamous? I said it last week, this question's kind of weird because one's a single-player game, one's a multiplayer game. One's story-based, one's not. One is mainly going to appeal to one audience, one another. One's mostly Xbox PC, one is nothing but PlayStation. So it really comes down to your personal taste and genre and type of game. For me, it's Infamous because I paid $400 for that PlayStation just to fucking play Infamous.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Titanfall, but I'm a huge fan of Infamous, so I'd say Infamous.
Anthony?
Oh, that's a good question. I would get Titanfall because I like Infamous. I played Infamous 1 and I played Infamous 2, and I like it, but I don't really quite love it or think that it is exciting enough for me to get it over Titanfall. Now, Titanfall definitely has the good first impression. Because all I did was just watch Bronson play on his Alienware for about 5 minutes. I'm just like, whoa, that looks really cool. I want to play it. I want to get in on this.
And when I wrote Yoda Titan, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it definitely has a very strong first impression. Whereas Infamous, I'm just thinking, yeah, Infamous Second Son, it's going to be more Infamous. It's going to play better. It's going to look better. It's taking place in Seattle. Stuff like that. But, back in my mind, it's just like thinking, yeah, but it's Infamous. Just better. And Titanfall just kind of looks cool and has new things. Even though it probably has a lot of Call of Duty-ness in it.
All right. All right. Well, we'll get the next question from Aminalahu. Jesus. Aminamalulala. I played a few rounds of...
Wait until we try pronouncing gamer tags.
Oh, that is going to be a fun day. I played a few rounds of beta. I like the variety with the mechs, and the game seems to be paced very well. I'm getting Xbox One, or if it comes to PS4 or something like that, I'd give it a go. But it's just okay for me at this point. I'm more interested in Quantum Break than Titanfall. That's legitimate. I don't think I've seen the gameplay of Quantum Break. But it is by the folks who made Alan Wake, so I am excited. Because I loved Alan Wake. Alan Wake was just so good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Quantum Break as well, but I need to see more, which I'm sure we'll see more at E3. I think Quantum Break and The Order are kind of on the same playing field. We have at least seen a little bit more of The Order than Quantum Break, but it's they're both the mysterious games from Sony and Microsoft that I think are going to be pretty much unleashed during E3. So I think we're going to see full-on gameplay, live gameplay demos. I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
All right, so moving forward, we got
E3 is going to be awesome.
It is. Hopefully, it will be there. If not, we are going to be doing our incredible. At least Nick obviously is going because he lives in LA.
Yeah, I kind of live here.
But Anthony and I might have to be doing home base coverage again. Which, if you paid attention last year, though, our home base coverage fucking rocked.
Yeah, because last year was like a great home base coverage. Because let's be honest, before E3 started, things weren't actually looking good for the PS4 and Xbox One. Because Xbox One, we had just had still fresh memories of how awful the reveal was. Absolutely terrible reveal.
Xbox One reveal was awful.
I mean, we understand one person did argue that, well, it's for the stakeholders. The stakeholders are not very educated on games, so you have to show them stuff they can understand, which is Call of Duty Sports, which is TV sports and Call of Duty.
I love how sports.
Sports with the new Ignite engine that's going to revolutionize the way you play games. Look, our dude is sitting down with Roger Goodell on this. We're being serious. Yeah. Very. And then TV.
Right.
And yeah, but in the PS4 we had too many question marks because we didn't know much of a PS4. So at that time the Wii U looked like the best game console of the new generation. Oh, how weird things were back then. So what were we originally talking about before I got sidetracked on that?
E3 home coverage. Yeah, last year we covered. We managed to we recorded all the press conferences and recorded our live reactions to them.
Yeah, like Microsoft did a very good job. They did the best they could to make us forget that they revealed the Xbox One. Or how bad the Xbox One review was. That's how hard they worked. And it was great. And then the PS4 one happened. So you got Kingdom Hearts 3, which got Bridget really stoked. And then you had some bashing. Or the most professional bashing that you could find.
I mean, that was just like...
Yeah. Like, I mean, I understand that the Xbox One looked so bad that common sense became a saving hero.
Yeah.
But still, it was kind of cool. Because at that time, the Xbox One, even though it showed a lot of good things at E3, they still hadn't reversed on a lot of decisions yet. So everyone was still thinking, "Oh dear."
Was still thinking you would have to
no used games. You have to connect every 24 hours. The Connect is going to be forever connected to your Xbox One, or else it doesn't work. Terrible things like that.
And then Sony comes out and just like,
no used games.
Oh, and let us not forget Don Matrix. We have an offline device.
It's called the
360.
Oh, I understand for those who don't have internet, like those in a nuclear submarine. If I lived in a nuclear submarine, I would understand how you have no... The guy was like a total fool. Actually, I'm glad he went off. I'm glad he actually went off to Zynga.
Lives in a nuclear submarine right now. So, well, we feel for him and want him to play video games.
Speaking of which, actually, I'm kind of happy that Matrix went off to Zynga. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally. Somehow
Zynga
I feel like he fits more at an Angry Birds developing office than an Xbox developing office. And guess what? The moment he left, Xbox
Zynga doesn't make Angry Birds, but
yeah.
So I'm sorry. They make Farmville. The Farmville development offices. I'm sorry. That's what happens when I don't pay attention.
And
to
Words
mobile
with Friends and all this, yeah.
Yeah, like all that happened.
Words with Friends is fun.
Right when Don Matrick left.
Social mobile games is what they do.
Yeah, like, man, it's raining really hard outside my house right now. Anyways, but after Don Matrick left, Xbox One started reversing on all of these decisions, and to this day, I can't stop shaking the thought that maybe this was all a conspiracy plan to make people think that Microsoft cares for you.
Anthony, the conspiracy plan was, man, we're getting out pre-ordered 8-1, 7-1, 5-1.
Yeah, like actually common sense. Yeah, that's the part of my brain I was thinking. But part of my brain is thinking, this can't be a conspiracy plan, because when the PlayStation 4 is looking like the absolute savior based on sheer common sense, and it's looking like you are creating the worst game system ever, yes, the logical business sense is to fix everything. But the speed that we're doing it just kind of didn't make sense to me. It's like they booted online functionality, they suddenly said, okay, you don't need to connect anymore, and then they suddenly said, oh, you can do used games now. And it was like the way they were doing it just kind of made me thought, I understand that logically it makes sense that if you are being out pre-ordered by your competitor by a big margin, you definitely have to fix things. But there's like this tiny little voice in my head that's still saying, it's a conspiracy plan. They're making a system really hateful, and then they're fixing it over time to make it seem like they're listening to you.
So
one of the most memorable moments for me, and this will always be one of the most memorable moments, was at the Sony conference when Jack Tretton hits the stage to close out the conference, and he just freaking slams and bitch slaps and torches the Xbox One, like slap after slap after punch after punch.
And all he is
like
stating,
it was so brutal. Like you could just feel it. Like I was at the press conference, probably 5-6 rows back, and you could just feel it. It was like bam, bam. And you're just like,
and it was just common sense.
And right when you thought he was done, he had like another 3 more to throw. It's like, damn.
And it's just common sense too, because the Xbox One looked that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, all they said was they said, yo, it can play used games. Yo, it doesn't need to be connected to the internet at all, ever. And finally, it's $100 cheaper.
I mean, that's just...
Shit.
See, those don't seem very big when we put it now, but at the time, when your alternative is what the original Xbox One concept was, yeah, the PS4 suddenly seems like... Because Xbox One said so many things that seem to go against what gaming enthusiasts really
They even
wanted.
managed to sneak in there the whole PlayStation Plus for online thing, though. That was funny.
And that's when I was walking back to my car out of the conference, and as I'm walking to my car, I go to Amazon and I pre-order my PlayStation 4. I
pre-ordered mine the next morning. But
yeah, freaking.
One thing I remember from that event was the ridiculous roar from the crowd and Bridget regarding Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah, that was...
Oh yeah, it got loud there.
Actually, to be honest, I couldn't hear the crowd because Bridget was screaming over the TeamSpeak.
Yeah.
Yeah, freaking... I think the only way you can get people to scream harder is Final Fantasy VII. I think that would be the only way you can get them to scream harder. Because they announced they did 15, right, at that conference?
Mm-hmm. Yep, 15.
So that was very big, but 15 isn't exactly a fangirl type of game. Well, actually, it is. Final Fantasy actually is, but a bigger one is Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Mission accomplished. So, yeah, but then again, I still think they're not going to remake Final Fantasy VII until the day Square Enix financial standings are in complete danger.
Yeah, then they're going to be like, oh shit, we're about to go out of business, so we've got to release a remake.
The final Final Fantasy game. Final Fantasy VII Remake. And it'll save the company and then they'll pursue to make 50 more. Okay. So, next comment?
Alright, well, next comment is... Alright, Solid Kratos gave us a couple novels, so... I'm gonna condense this. He's given us a break from his paragraphs, but he misses 2 to 3 hour shows, so he's back. Wish granted. First up, sign me up for Anthony Snowballing along with 5 good friends who watch your shows, but sadly are afraid to comment. But that does happen. I'll buy 3 shirts, no lie. You guys are awesome and I want to support.
Dear goodness, I didn't think this idea was going to take off like this.
Make it happen, people. Make my dream a reality. And also, that would put a little extra money in Anthony and I's pocket and Nick's pocket, which that'd be nice.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes,
probably at my expense though.
the margin on those T-shirts after splitting them 3 ways would be like $2 a piece, but still.
Yeah, because the majority of the cost is to print the shirts.
Yeah. With the release of Thief, I want to know if maybe you guys got it. What's your opinion? And have you guys played The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 2? Are you planning doing 60-minute access or super awesome to playtime with Season 2? I've seen Thief at a friend's house, was not impressed, and the reviews have been mediocre, so no, I haven't picked it up. What about you guys?
No and no.
The last time I remember I'd seen anything of Thief was the Spike TV Shit Awards.
Spike TV Shit Awards. There we go. I love that.
Frickin', that wasn't even an award show. That was just...
I'm
glad the presenters looked like they were warning us how bad it was going to be. I'm glad they did that. Jeff Keighley, and I forgot what the other guy was. Yeah, I'm glad they looked bored and exhausted, because that was a pretty good warning to what the entire show... Yeah, that was pretty much the entire show. I'm just like, last year's, like the years before, I didn't like it very much. I mean, it was better, but that's not saying much. But at least it was kind of like, yeah, they're kind of making a bit of an event. Yeah, they're sort of bringing the orchestra, and yeah, they're actually making it an award show. Whereas this is just like a gigantic interview session with really, really, really boring interviews and awards that are really dumb. I feel like the whole show was planned by people who didn't know that this thing was about video games.
So,
Joel McHale, that was his name.
Yeah, he's in Community. Anyway, moving forward to the Walking Dead question. Sure, we'll do 6-minute access of it, Season 2. Well, we've done Episode 1 of Season 2, so I guess we could do 6-minute access of Episode 2. I mean, Anthony and I both got codes, so...
Yeah, but I didn't even finish Episode 1, did I?
Well, finish Episode 1, and then this week, when we do South Park, we can also do Episode 2. There you go. Anyway, Sega lost... He also says, with Sega losing the trademark for Shenmue, and so he's looking into getting the trademark, and with the creator of it, Yu Suzuki, going to GDC... to talk about Shenmue, do you believe Shenmue 3 might become a reality, or at least an HD edition of 1 and 2? By the way, have you guys even played Shenmue 1 and 2 on Dreamcast? I played Shenmue 1 on... I thought it was a great game. I would be stoked for more Shenmue. I think that it's basically what David Cage does. Hello, anyone else?
I never played Shenmue, so I can't really comment on that. You, Anthony?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know anything about Shenmue. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's that.
Dear goodness, this is a long comment.
Oh, I know.
And I just saw it for the first time, so sorry.
What do you guys think about Mojang working with Warner Bros. To make a Minecraft movie? They got the producer from the Lego Movie to be on Minecraft. Have you seen the Lego Movie? What are your thoughts? On topic of the movies, have you seen the new RoboCop, and what are your thoughts?
So, the reason why the Lego Movie worked is because you kind of well, at least in my opinion, I think it works because when you look at Lego, they actually made a lot of Lego games. And you can kind of create a story. And not to mention Lego as a child, you always kind of thought, I'm going to build a house. I'm going to have this person. Hi, this person. How you? You did a lot of that. Or at least I did.
I had
when I was little
Lego set, and I didn't build the actual set, but I built a more awesome set than the one that was out in the box.
That's pretty cool. So in Lego, you always kind of like have that. Whereas in Minecraft, well, okay, I'll be honest. I don't know much about Minecraft, and I don't know if people write up their own stories in Minecraft, or they're just... But Minecraft is like... I know it's basically a Lego game. It's essentially what it is, but... I don't know if it still has... I don't know if it still has that same instant story kind of thing that Lego gave, because Lego is primarily played by young children, which and young children love to make these little stories up in their head, and it's great. But Minecraft is primarily played by a lot older people, teenagers, college people with jobs. And when you're an adult, that kind of instant fantasy story thing doesn't exactly pop into your head as easily anymore.
Yeah,
so I don't know if a Minecraft movie, unless it's a documentary, then I can understand Minecraft documentary. Okay, because that's what they did with the Gran Turismo movie. It was basically a documentary. So maybe it's a Minecraft documentary, but try to make it look like a movie, probably not. Not to mention, it doesn't have the same charm. Because with Lego, it's colorful and it's blocky, and you look at it and it's like, yeah, it's fun and it's cool. Whereas Minecraft, I don't really quite get the same impression. Because everything is so pixelated that it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I didn't see the Lego movie, but from people I know have seen it, they said it's actually pretty good. But yeah, I just don't see it working that well with Minecraft. But we'll see.
Okay, so next up, I'm going to shorten the question down to what are your thoughts on Batman with Arkham Origins being a disappointment? Kind of talked about this already. I have high hopes. Rocksteady is an excellent developer. Yeah.
Same. I'm excited. We talked about this a lot, but yeah, I'm really stoked for it.
Yeah. And also the fact that it's only on next-gen consoles actually helps the game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that point there is that by keeping it only next-gen, you kind of save a lot of money on development. Because you don't have to worry about, oh man, some of this code has to work on a PS3, which is Cell, and an Xbox 360, a variation of Cell, and it also has to work on x86, which is not PowerPC at all.
And then it needs to work on PowerPC, because all the Batman games have been on Wii U. So.
Yeah, a whacked up asymmetrical tricore. Well, asymmetrical as far as the caching is. Yeah.
Alright, so moving forward with the question. Titanfall 2 going multi-platform since XONE did not sell well to what EA was hoping. So basically, Respawn is already working on Titanfall 2, so the XONE will already lose their so-called exclusive when the sequel comes out. What are your thoughts? I don't believe this is an actual thing yet. And even if it is, like...
Yeah, they're definitely not developing Titanfall 2. They're just focused on the first Titanfall. And the Xbox One not selling well, that's not the case at all. It is selling well. It's just not... You gotta understand, like, everyone's saying it's not selling well because PlayStation 4 is selling twice as many, but then it's like, yes, but the PlayStation 4 is selling like no other video game console has sold. That's like releasing a mobile phone. And it's selling let's say the Galaxy S5, it was just announced. Galaxy S5 comes out, starts selling. But then you compare it to the sales of the next iPhone 6. That's like saying that Galaxy S5 isn't selling well because the iPhone 6 is doubling its sales. Yes, you compare, but you also need to understand that, like, okay, Gran Turismo, Grand Theft Auto, Halo, all those games, they sell 8 to 10 million. Call of Duty, they sell millions and millions of copies. Does that mean when Uncharted comes out and sells 3 million that Uncharted was not successful? No, that's not the case at all.
All right.
The headline of that article read, analyst, Titanfall 2 won't be Xbox exclusive. Former EA CEO thought Microsoft would kick Sony's butt next gen.
Yeah,
that's what I don't know.
This just looks like
I can see why Sony would have thought Microsoft would have kicked Sony's butt, because if Sony didn't learn, then they would have. I mean, think about it. If Sony would have released the PlayStation 4 at $600 and it used some
$650. They're not going to pull off the $599 joke. They're going to say $649.
Yeah, then it came out with some new development technology that developers would have to take forever to develop on. And
well, this is better than Cell.
Then yeah, hell yeah. Then the Xbox One would be selling really well. The PlayStation 4 wouldn't be selling well at all. But that's not the case. Sony actually learned.
Actually, in this case, Microsoft was the one who made a lot of bad decisions that probably really hurt them. Like, we actually talked to a couple people in line at the PlayStation launch, and a few of them actually still thought the Xbox One still did some of the stuff that was originally announced months earlier. Anyways.
So next up is Verizon and their bullshit wanting gamers to pay for more bandwidth since they can now because net neutrality is long in place. What is your opinion? Yeah, I think there shouldn't be a bandwidth cap on anyone.
Yeah, bandwidth caps are bullshit.
Yeah, like, it doesn't cost them that much more, especially for like the high speeds that gamers typically pay for. They're making a lot more money off of us than they're fucking spending. So fuck them is basically my sentiment there.
So, I don't know what to think about this. So, a lot of things in life, the more you use, the more you pay. The more electricity you use, the more your electrical bill is.
Yeah, but that's like saying that so you pay for your internet.
I'm not like saying that I'm for.
But the more TV you watch, the more you have to pay. Like, that doesn't make sense.
I know, but I'm just kind of like saying this from how the companies are probably thinking about this. Problem is that internet bandwidth is a big deal because, yeah, you may think it's cheap bandwidth, and it's not that hard to make more bandwidth. The thing is, it's actually kind of hard because the internet infrastructure is not like you can take a unlimited amount of loads. For example, try having 10 computers in your house at the same time trying to download something. Your internet's going to be pretty slow across all those 10 computers. Like, internet is kind of like a finite resource. It's not like by watching more TV, you are taking it more load on the TV processor end, because to be honest, when you turn off your TV, it's still giving a TV feed to your TV anyways, I think. Whereas with the internet, if you are using a lot of it, it's going to slow other people down. Like I said, try downloading a colossal file on like 10 different computers. It'll slow everybody down. So I think that's what the rationale is. And I do believe that AT&T a few years back did this thing called pay as you use. Like, if the more gigabytes you burn up, the more you pay. Because that way it's cheaper for those who don't use the internet very much. If you only use the internet for occasional YouTubing and email, your internet bill is going to be really cheap. Whereas if you're people like us, where you're constantly downloading stuff, uploading stuff, transferring stuff all over the place, then you're going to pay a pretty darn big internet bill. Thing was, it wasn't very popular, so I think they stopped.
First off, in this day and age, no one's going to put up with that shit. Like, especially in the areas that haven't had caps. LA, San Francisco, Seattle, even Reno. Like, if Charter tries to institute a bandwidth cap here, first off, people here are already sick of Charter's bullshit. So,
let me tell you, they recently required everybody to have digital cable boxes, which added an additional monthly rate, I think, per device. Yeah. Kind of gets expensive over time.
Also, I have friends who have Verizon internet, and they say it sucks ass, so,
That's like the other thing, too, that I'm very concerned about.
Verizon's internet sucking ass?
A lot of ISPs not having good internet, yet still charge a lot of money for it. Because you and I, Bronson, we kind of are fortunate to be living in a smaller city. And Charter is very...
I live in one of the biggest cities in the country, and I have Uverse, and I can't complain at all.
I know, but there are a lot of people that complain about
24 megabits down, 3 up, and I never have any issues. And my internet's always blazing fast.
Okay, well, it also depends. But there's like a lot of people. I mean, I think Comcast is one that people frequently complain about. You don't get good enough speeds, and you still pay about the same rate as, say, what Bronson and I pay for now.
What
I
do you
paid
guys use
$40.
for internet?
Charter.
Actually, Charter is like the only cable internet. Is it?
No, you can get Universe here.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
that's
apartment
right.
I can get Charter or Uverse, but I went with Uverse.
Well, yeah. Well, there's Charter, Uverse, and a couple other ISPs are here.
Yeah. But I don't know. I hear like Comcast is a frequent one. Like, not many people have great internet, and they still pay pretty high rates for it. I don't know. Yeah, data caps. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm like, first off, net neutrality going away is just horse shit. Everyone, please write your congressman.
What is net neutrality? Because I heard the term, but I don't really understand what it is.
Okay, so it means that like companies won't, like compete with each other in like, or it's hard to phrase. I'm trying to figure out a way how I can phrase this for you.
It's like for example, like energy companies. Like a lot of places, you don't really get to choose who you have for energy or who you use for water. So like with the net, like if you're stuck with only one internet carrier, then you really have no choice. So they can really charge whatever they want.
Yeah, but then they would have to be in contract with the local city municipal government, so that way they're not getting ripped off, right? It's like the power bill.
Well, no,
right?
but that's where the Net Neutrality Act comes in. It's like that's not the case. Like,
Okay,
yes, with
so-
electricity and water, then yes, like that, those are regulated, but the internet service providers are not.
So this is what it is the principle that internet service providers and the government should treat data on the internet equally, not discriminating or charging differently by user, content, site, platform, application, type of attached equipment, and modes of communication. This term was coined by Columbia media law professor Tim Wu.
What? Okay, you know what? I need to read this.
So, yeah. This is, I don't know, oh man. This is a touchy subject. I think that net neutrality should still be around. Like,
Yeah,
first off,
should.
I don't want my internet like, how fucking obnoxious would this be 20 years down the road when we're huge? Right? Like, let's say this site just explodes. We're like with IGN, GameSpot, all them. We're that fucking big. And well, to get the gamer access, you have to pay for this package.
Wait, you mean like cable television?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, fuck that, right?
It's like, to access this portion of the internet, you need to pay this. To access that portion of the internet, you need to pay this. And I'm just like, so look, the internet's huge. Unlike okay, on TV you could do this with TV, okay? TV. Ugh. You can do this with television because there's only so many cable companies, okay? There's only big cable companies.
Yeah, it's not like I can be like, okay, I'm gonna start a cable network tomorrow. It's not like that.
It's not like,
whereas I could start a website tomorrow if I wanted to.
Freaking, you could go to Google Sites and make a website in 2 hours, and it'll be good and ready to go. Yeah, you could do that. And it also makes it pretty, and it's also a case of you could easily plug a web server into the internet too. You just need to do some things along the way, but you can plug a web server onto the internet, and bam, you got a web server that's connected now to the internet. With cable, there's only few cable companies, and they're all extremely big. And also very regulated. The internet is not. The internet is so big that how do you even control any of it? Like, how can you? Maybe I want to access content from the UK, because that's the only place I can get it. Do I have to pay an international package and like punch a $200 down payment through my piggy bank just so I can access one web page from the United Kingdom? The internet is so big, this, like, the cable package idea for the internet is not going to work. Because the internet is way, way too big. There's too many websites, too many people. Just not going to work. That is how the ideal. That is the ideal, right? Just so I am understanding this.
And along with data speeds and bandwidth caps, all that shit. Yeah. Moving forward, this has been going on for a while. Let's see. All right, so we're not going to read this article, even though you tell us to. I'm sorry. But Ubisoft writer says that people are scared of gay characters in video games, which would impact sales, which is why gay characters aren't even the main characters. What do you think? I say fucking shenanigans on that shit, because some of the best characters in games are transsexual, gay, or bi. So, or if they're not, or they at least appear that way. And also, you have characters like games like Mass Effect and Fable and Skyrim, where you are the main character, you can be gay. And those games sell fuck tons. I know Kanji is not the main character in Persona 4, but most likely gay. Naoto, confused, also a popular character in Persona 4. Fable character, Dragon Age. Can you be gay in Dragon Age, Anthony?
Yes, it's possible, I think.
All right, so I wish Aaron was here, because he would have really good answers for this.
Yeah, he probably would.
Because he's actually been to GamerX, the convention for homosexual gamers and bi and trans gamers. And I think we live in a society that pretty much accepts gays more than any other society has. And
you think? Have you heard what's going down in Texas? I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Depending on what part of the country you are in.
Thank you.
Yeah, highly depending upon what. Because if you're in Texas, good luck. Yeah,
well, there's a reason.
I kind of agree with what he's saying. Like it's okay. First of all, the whole lesbian scene. Let me just say this: whether we want to admit it, whether you think it's fair or not, it's known. It's a fact that lesbians are generally accepted more than gays are. That's a fact. So, and the same would apply in the fact of video games. I'm not saying I support or I'm against anything. Those are my views. My views will not be expressed on this podcast because they don't matter. But related to this, I do think that if a big budget title was to come out and the main protagonist, it was very clear that he was gay, then I do think it would negatively impact sales. I honestly do, because then you're running into the publicity stunt of this game's, the protagonist in this game's gay, and as long as it's very clear that he's gay, not hinting at or making theories that he's gay, but it's clear he's explicitly kissing and making out with guys and having these relationships
we have
with
this
guys.
already though, and those games sell millions. Fucking in Fable, you can go be a man whore with a bunch of other dudes.
Well, but here's the thing. That's by choice. I'm talking about look at this. Along the lines of Uncharted, something that was very not something that you can change. Something like Uncharted, you're Nathan Drake and you're dating this guy and you're having this relationship with this guy. Not something where of course, something like The Sims or Skyrim or Fable, where you can kind of manipulate and change it how you want. I'm talking about where it's forced on you, where that's the story and this guy's having a relationship with this guy. I think that would negatively impact sales.
I don't think it would. I think that most of this country and most of the planet is actually...
I wouldn't say most. I would not say most. I'd say it's about half and half at most.
I wouldn't say most of the planet either.
I wouldn't say most.
There's still some cultures that flat out will not accept this.
I would say a very large portion of this country, and a lot of the countries. I wouldn't say
a very large portion of this country either.
That I would. Most people
If I had to take a guess, I'd say 35 to 40% of this country is okay with it.
Yeah, that seems a bit more accurate. If I'm honest,
I would flip it around. I would say 65%.
Is there a poll that we can look up to see how many actual people are, okay with this, or at least just some generic poll recently? Because we're just guessing
the only thing
numbers
is
right
that
now.
poll would have to be a national poll because that's gonna highly vary by state.
Yeah, like that's the
Yeah.
thing. Because like if you take that shit
Like,
up to
like for example, like San Francisco is
Yeah, San
loaded
Francisco
with
would totally be chill with
a
it.
heavy homosexual population, but then you can go to like Texas or Alabama, like that just doesn't work there.
I don't look. I've never seen what the big deal with this is. Like, I just do
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying with how things are in this country and everything, I honestly just don't think that if a game was very clear and it was a part of the story that could not be manipulated, I do think it would negatively impact the game sales. I honestly do.
I don't think so, and a lot of the reason comes from just the main target audience of gamers, which the majority of gamers are young.
You're talking about gamers here. A lot of these gamers are the guys going on Xbox Live calling people faggots and gay this, gay that.
Transvestites.
I am more leaning towards the people like us, though, and the people, you know.
But here's the thing: Call of Duty is the biggest seller, and guess what?
And then you go on Xbox, and then you gay, you blah blah blah.
What type of game is this? Like that's one thing we need to ask ourselves, because perfect example, Persona 4 has a gay main character. He is one of your party members, and and if you go through a social link, it's pretty obvious that he's gay. That game is one of the best-selling games on the Vita. It's granted, that's by the scale of an Atlas game and the Vita.
Yeah, best-selling game on the Vita. Okay, like that's not really saying much.
But it did do really well as a PS2 game and sold a couple million copies, sold over 1 million on the Vita, and it did fine. Like, and then Mass Effect, which you can choose for it to be a Mass Effect, and then there was a news story, it's like, fucking Commander Shepard can be fucking gay, oh my god, the world's ending. That was a news story.
Actually, that was a news story because it was misinterpreted.
Well, yeah.
I do believe it was misinterpreted. I didn't bother to watch it because I believe that the amount of brain rot I would receive would be too much.
Yeah, but even then, like, I think a lot of gamers, yes, there is the Call of Duty raw, you faggot crowd, but there is the people like us, people who go to PAX, like I know plenty of there's an entire con of gay gamers in San Francisco, and supporters of gay gamers, and the reason is, and I think that a lot of the reasons that would actually do fine or people just wouldn't give a shit is largely because a lot of the gaming audience strays young, 35 or younger, and a lot of that age group just doesn't give a shit either way, or they're totally okay with dudes being with dudes. Yeah. So that's, but whatever. I feel
personally it might be a little too soon.
I agree.
Maybe a few years or several years into the future.
Well,
it probably will be okay. But for now, and actually, Bronson, I think you brought up an extremely good point. It also depends on the genre. You flat out don't want to do this in a shooter. At all. You flat out don't want to do this in a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, like you don't want to have the next Gears of War having two of the Gears of War characters being gay and like openly displaying it.
I thought they had that with Dom and Marcus. So
oh my!
I mean, that's very funny, Bronson. You're very funny.
Oh, that is funny.
The Dom has shot his wife, and now he turns to Marcus for comfort.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good, Bronson.
Yep.
But yeah, I think.
What were the achievements? Hold on, I'm gonna pull up the achievements for that game because I would circulate those as proof. Hold on, give me a minute here. What were those called?
But while Bronson does that, I think Bronson brought up a very good point that it also depends on the content. You flat don't want to do this in a shooter, but. No. I guess in Mass Effect it was more acceptable because it was story driven and it was kind of like interacting with people was a big deal. So it was like it was okay. It was okay with Mass Effect. You're talking with people, you're getting friendly with people, and you know what? You had a choice and that kind of stuff, so it worked out.
The same thing can be said for for dear God, for Persona with kanji. Like, yeah, that's kanji is, in the American version they don't make him like, oh, he's obviously gay. They subtly say, oh, he could be gay, but you know, uh, and I don't know, like, just it didn't bother most people who played that game. In fact, kanji is one of my favorite characters in that game. But I don't know. Like, I think it would depend on the game. I mean, it worked in Gears of War, as I said.
Oh my gosh.
All
That's
right, hold
funny.
on. I'm getting the name of the
He's not
achievement
being
right
serious, audience.
now. Let's see. What is the name of this achievement? I know that. Dear God, Dom Curious, Domination. I can't quit you, Dom, which is obviously a reference to Brokeback Mountain.
Yes, but that was meant for humor. Like, that's different.
All right,
That's
well,
pun. That's punning it up.
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna check Gears of War 2 because I don't know what they were for Gears 2. Let's see, story. Okay, here we go. One night stand, open relationship, friends with benefits. I'm just saying.
Oh dear.
I mean, the game starts in a prison, so
Look at Bronson being starting a conspiracy here.
I see what you're doing, Cliffy. Cliffy was ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah, now that Bronson's mentioned this, you know the phrase that once it's seen, it cannot be unseen? What Bronson's suggesting to me right now, I'm never going to stop thinking about just like, is Marcus and Dom suggesting something here? Now, every time I play the game now, it's just like, oh, shit.
Alright. So, next up is with the apparently Dishonored 2 Legos Learn, do you believe it's real? And would you like a sequel? And we'd love to see a sequel. If studios make Dishonored a series, would you like that or not? Dishonored should Dishonored stay as standalone with no sequels? I wasn't a fan of the first Dishonored, so I can't say I'd be into it. But some people would like another. I know Brittany would flip her shit for another because she loved that game.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Dishonored.
So,
generally, I'm not a fan of Bethesda. I gotta admit, like Fallout, I liked Rage, but generally, I'm not a fan of Bethesda.
I liked Oblivion. I thought Skyrim was alright.
Oh, I hated
I
Skyrim.
really liked Oblivion, although that's mostly out of nostalgia and because it was the first ever open world RPG game I've ever played. And I like Skyrim, but think that people are overrating it.
Alright, so next up is Bronson. I would love an anime podcast for you guys to at least talk about anime in an episode. But I know that's not everyone watches anime, but it'd be awesome if you do something similar. Well, I'm trying to get Anthony to watch certain animes. He won't do it, but...
Well, it's probably because I don't have time to do it either.
I do what I do. Leave it on when you do homework. There you go.
But yeah, but then I get very distracted. Look, I can't multitask like that like you do.
Well, fuck.
Everyone's different. In my case, if you put a show on, I will be very distracted.
Alright, well, I don't know. I'm going to have to find someone to talk anime with me. If you want some recommendations for anime, since you wanted me to talk about it now, I really like Welcome to the NHK. I thought that was a really entertaining, really kind of dark anime. Currently, I'm watching an anime on Netflix called Heaven's Lost Property. It's a really good comedy with some other bits thrown into it. Animation's really good. Can get a little pervy at points, but still a solid pick. Another comedy, Baka and Test, was pretty good. If you're looking for something more action-oriented, Blue Gender is incredibly violent and really entertaining. So yeah, those are what I've been watching recently. If you want my favorite animes ever, Clannad After Story, Fully Cooley, Baka and Test, Dragon Ball Z, though a lot of that is out of nostalgia. And then, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm forgetting its name. Hold on. I used to have a wallpaper of it on my computer. Let me pull it up real quick. Doo-doo-doo. Everyone, talk about your experience with anime. Anthony, do you like any anime? Any anime you've seen?
I hate anime. I've never been able to get into it.
Let's see. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Does not interest me.
Anthony, what? I heard you laughing.
Sorry, I'm just like rereading what Great Two's gonna say next because I read the story and it was pretty funny.
Oh. I would say, yeah, welcome to the HK, which I told you about earlier. So, yeah, The World God Only Knows. I think one of our listeners told me about The World God Only Knows. I want to say it was Kyo Tenshi. I really liked it. So props to him for that. It's just a bummer that to know what happens, you have to finish it by reading the manga, which I hate when animes do that. I also think that Inuyasha would have been one of the greatest animes of all time if it didn't have like 100 episodes of filler. Like
Ouch.
Yeah, like Inuyasha was 163 episodes, and then it had to stop for more to be made to catch up to the manga and finish it overall. And if you cut all the filler out of that show, it's one of the best animes ever. But with all that filler, it's kind of just really good.
To be honest, though, the only anime I actually watched, quote, all of, I don't know if they had more episodes. It's been a long time. The only one I watched was Claymore, which was based on a manga, actually.
Well, yeah, most animes are.
Yeah.
Anthony, if you were still playing MMOs a lot, I would say you should watch Sword Art Online.
If I was still playing MMOs a lot?
Are you? I haven't heard you talk about Final Fantasy in a while, so...
I haven't talked about it in a while, but I do have a raid scheduled tomorrow at 8 p.m.
You should watch Sword Art Online. You would like it, and I know where you can watch it, because I have it. So yeah.
Okay. So this next one, I'm not gonna read we're not gonna read the comment because I'm also explaining the story. Okay. So so Great T is mentioning about how this dude got in, about how this domestic dispute resulted in the Master Sword replica hurting somebody.
The solid Kratos, yeah.
Yeah, and a smashed flower pot.
Let's see.
So
the boyfriend of a chick in jail, after defending himself from the chick's ex, got his master sword as the ex came in. The boyfriend went to his closet for his sword, fought against the ex, and got hit with a flower plant from his ex. So it's sad. The ex got stabbed in the leg, and the boyfriend got a gash in the head. Okay,
so I'm going to try and explain this better. So you have a boyfriend and girlfriend. Ex is pissed. Breaks into the house, I think. And so the boyfriend goes and grabs his Master Sword replica from the closet. And the ex proceeds to run into the Master Sword and injure his leg. They fought over, and what happened next? Let me read the article.
Okay, so I think I got the gist here from the story.
So Thompson's girlfriend let the man into the house where he began chasing Thompson around to protect him. Okay, so the ex definitely ran into the sword. The injured man was then thrown outside the house, but then broke through the front door. And then he was stabbed. And then the ex was stabbed by the Master Sword. And before he got stabbed, though, he grabbed a flower pot and hit the boyfriend in the head. So the man that got stabbed, the ex, is now in the hospital, while the boyfriend just has a smashed flower pot injury.
Great.
So yeah, the Master Sword causing injuries, in addition to a...
Alright, so here's a question. I got a question to come out of this. Two equal swordsmen are in a fight. One of them has the Master Sword. One of them has Frostmourne. And this is factoring in that with Frostmourne, he cannot summon the dead to help him. Who wins?
the Master Sword might. I think this Master Sword might win because it's just what is the slogan on the Master Sword again? I don't remember.
The Sword of Evil's Bane.
Yes, there we go. And Frostmourne's evil.
That's true, but
Frostmourne is significantly bigger, if I'm correct.
and
Because
also,
the Master Sword is one-handed. Frostmourne is like this gigantic sword that you could wield with two hands.
Also, Frostmourne also has the advantage of the runes in it, so it could technically freeze the Master Sword.
But the Master Sword also has the power of the three goddesses, I think. I mean, you forget you spend all of Skyward Sword creating the Master Sword for the first time.
On the other end of that, though, Frostmourne is powered by Kil'jaeden, so that's pretty much.
The three goddesses literally created all of Hyrule. Who knows what the three of them are capable of?
That's true. The Titans just kind of pimp around and. Well,
They pimped around and gave life to the world, much like the three golden goddesses, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's a really good question. But, oh yeah, so basically, being the fact that a Master Sword got involved in stabbing a dude, and there's a broken flower pot, inevitably jokes about, were there any rupees in the flower pot that was broken?
Way to be, Internet. Way to be.
Because that's what you do in Zelda games, right? You break flower pots on site for money.
Alright, so the last bit of his comment is, hope this drags the episode longer. Love what you guys do and hope to see it in the Anthony Snowballing shirt. We love doing it. Currently, Anthony and I are bending over backwards to get stuff out to you guys.
Yeah, actually, this week we actually have to record because our backlog has run out.
Yep, we've run out of a backlog. So the good news is, though, we're recording 2 60-minute accesses now that we got that Walking Dead request. Well,
we might record Super Mega Awesome Playtime depending whether we have any energy left after this.
Yeah, it depends on schedule and energy because I have work at 3 that day, and we start recording at 9. But I also want to, kind of have a little break in between. So I don't know. It's gonna be. Yeah, we're going to mainly focus on the 6-minute access this month, but we are going to try and get Okami done as soon as possible so we can put that effort into other shows. What the Hell is returning soon. Bronson Ranch should have returned soon, but I got completely annihilated by life. Also, maybe in the near or in the far semi-near future, we are going to have some content from some people that aren't us, the staff. And it's really cool content from what we've seen so far, but right now it's just kind of in the maybe phase. Anthony saw what it is, and so did Nick. I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Creative has... Sorry, not Creative. Solid Creative has one more question. Quick question. Can I make a design and submit it to you guys?
Sure.
If this is possible, because I have some ideas.
Sure. Go ahead. We're probably going to use Bremen's, but you never know. You might make something that's really rad and we'll use it.
The guideline is to keep the shirt kind of PG as far as looks go.
Yeah, we
pretty much described the idea because the thing is we can't exactly make this too suggestive or else we're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, you can't walk around PAX like I did with a fuck Ryan Davis shirt on it. Yeah, that's a bad...
I mean, the general concept is like what we said, just snowy background, my head, and the thumbs up just I love Snowball.
Yeah, like him.
Basically, it's a shirt that if you are 10 years old, you're not going to understand what it means other than this guy likes to roll in the snow probably. But if you're 20, you understand what the joke is.
This is what we want. We want Anthony in a winter wonderland. Very childlike, if possible. I mean, and then we want Anthony giving the thumbs up, full body Anthony with a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up if possible, and then on the bottom, I love snowballing.
Something like that. I mean, clearly,
also,
it doesn't have to be like that, but that's just the idea we have.
For those of you who were wondering about the fuck Ryan Davis shirt, it's a giant bomb in joke for the fans because they had a China Don't Care shirt. And then Ryan's like, I want my own shirt, and I think I can make a shirt that would outsell the China Don't Care shirt. and it was Jeff. Ryan thought of China Don't Care, and then Jeff's like, this shirt's ridiculous. I can't do this anymore. So Jeff made a Fuck Ryan Davis shirt, and then they had a shirt war to see who could sell more. So
I wish I had the Wizards one.
I think they might bring those back. Yeah, I'm a wizard.
I'm yeah.
I'm a wizard. That looks fucked up. I actually ran that. I actually got into a LFR with a raid with someone who knew that joke, and he also understood all the Helix stuff.
Yeah, gamers. You never know, right?
Yeah. Anyway, final thing here is also from Solid Kratos. Oh, and when I saw this yesterday, it made my day. He actually commented on the video. By the way, throw up your hands up there. Your voice? Monorail.
Monorail.
What's it called? Monorail.
Monorail.
Once again, Monorail. And he links to the video for you all to enjoy of what Quinn and I did to some poor Square Enix PR gentleman.
I'm somehow tempted to do a YouTube search and see if a video of that moment existed.
I wonder. I doubt
this
it.
This was PAX 2012, right?
Yep. All right.
All
right, guys. Well,
nope. It just gives me a bunch of D&D stuff.
I figured. If Acquisitions Inc. is in there, you should watch it. It's pretty funny. Anyway, that's about it, guys. Next week,
almost 3.5 hours.
It was a long one.
Wish granted. So as always, we're on iTunes, we're on YouTube. Spread us to your friends, spread us to your families. More people we get watching, more people we get listening, means the more stuff we can make and do. Because
please subscribe on my iTunes. Please subscribe on Well, you don't necessarily have to subscribe, but please review us on iTunes. Please review us on iTunes. It helps. Please.
Positive reviews on iTunes, because we get enough reviews.
It takes 2 seconds. Go to iTunes, search Unscripted Access, 5 stars review.
Yeah, just type in "they're awesome," 5 stars. Done.
Or you can give us any constructive criticism as long as you give us 5 stars.
Exactly, because the thing is iTunes doesn't register us in the top gaming podcasts because we don't have enough reviews. So, yeah. Anyway,
tell your friends to do it too, please.
Yes, all your friends, all your family. I'd
your
say
grandma, your daughter, your sister,
we are
your
mostly
brother,
PG-13 appropriate.
Your
dog, your cat.
We are mostly family appropriate. Family friendly, I mean.
Alright. Bye, guys.
Peace out.
Bye.
We'll be back next week. I won't be here, but...
We love you.
Yes, they'll be back. Peace.
We'll be back.